But I want to take the start of this show to address some of the things that have been going around on public, namely about a group text chain that has been made known and released by Candace Owens. And I just want to address it head on because, that was a screen grab that I had shared with people. So it is authentic. And I want to go into it because I actually am really excited that the truth is out there. I first want to say the reason I didn't share that screen grab publicly is because it was a private exchange.
Grace and peace, everybody. We are back, and you cannot have been living under a rock. There's no way. There's no way that you were living under a rock, and you don't know what's been going on in the last maybe 7 hours, if you will. And as you just heard right here in the opening, Andrew Kolvet confirmed that the text message, the group text that Candace showed on yesterday was legitimate. And so we got lots to talk about. We're going to actually watch the entire video. We're also going to probably bring in Joe Pags, who talked about this earlier, about the journalism aspect of how Candace is approaching this. But before we get anywhere at all, I want to say thank you to the now 144 that are in the best live chat on the internet. Please make sure you say hi and let us know what number you are. I see $1. Y'all are up in here for sure. You cannot hear me? No sound, somebody said. I think they can hear me. Green hearts in the chat if you can hear. I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for jumping up in here for sure. All right. There you go, Future. Good to see you. There you go. What's happening, Realtor? I hate that they have to take time to defend themselves against her nothingness. I like it. I like to call it nonsense. I like nothingness either way. Shout out for sure. Thank you so much. I'll be in chat in a minute. Thank you so much, Tina. One of the fantastic mods in the building. Buzz Kim, thank you so much. $1.52. I sound good. Thank you, Brett. I need to check on my, I didn't check over here. I think I sound all right. I think I sound good. Appreciate you, Brett. Thank you so much. I want to tell y'all something real quick while we jumping in here, getting ready to talk about this. I am going to be hosting a pilot for a podcast for a company that focuses on streaming on the internet. And so if you are a member or a subscriber of the channel, I would love for you to check it out. I am going to be shooting a pilot tomorrow. More information forthcoming. Just want to put that out there. All right, let's get this party going. What's going on, my good people? Oh, man. Thank you so much, Future. I appreciate you. What's Jennifer saying? I can't stand Candace Spears. She's trying to ruin Charlotte's company by trying to ruin the people working for it and running it. I don't see a lie detected. I know a lot of those people are chest beating on Twitter, but I don't see a lie detected. Let's go. Let's go. Lots of good folk have already jumped into the most electrifying live chat on the planet. Thank you so very much for rocking with us. I want to address it, Kathleen. Kathleen says, why they act like it's breaking news. Charlie said it publicly. Sadly, a lot of people are getting they've become aficionados in Charlie clips. They're Charlie clip doctorates. So they have a bachelor's degree in Charlie clipology, and they haven't gone back and watched large swaths of what he's talked about in context. So I do think that it was, I'm not mad at them for doing it. I just maybe disappointed in how it went about it. But I totally get what you're saying. Well, thank you so much. 49ers, Celtics, man. You talk about national. My goodness, in the morning. Shout out. Thank you so much for coming through. There she is. There she is. Hey, y'all, just left the office and boom, a live stream. There we go. Can't let you down. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and get done with this. And hopefully right before we finish, Candace will be starting her live stream so we can turn it into a watch party. So if you have not seen or you're not familiar and don't know what actually is happening, Andrew Kolvet went on the Charlie Kirk live stream today and kind of confirmed a lot of things that were out there and confirmed the infamous Twitter post. The infamous group text that was out there. And so I figured, well, let's go ahead and look at it. If you didn't already see it, let's look at it see if we can understand it. And if we have time, we're going to bring Joe Pags in to kind of give a little bit more context as well to journalism. Let's go. Let's go.
Wanted to not
Green hearts in the chat when you can hear.
But I want to take the start of this show to address some of the things that have been going around on public, namely about a group text chain that has been made known and released by Candace Owens. And I just want to address it head on because, that was a screen grab that I had shared with people. So it is authentic. And I want to go into it because I actually am really excited that the truth is out there. I first want to say the reason I didn't share that screen grab publicly is because it was a private exchange, and I felt like it didn't necessarily comport with things that were already public. I wanted to not betray my friends' trust in that way. But I did share it with some people in government because it happened really quick. It was, it took 33 hours for authorities to get their suspect. And in those first moments, we wanted no stone unturned. We wanted to leave nothing unturned. So I shared it with a few people. Don't know where it went from there, apparently. But here we are. So one of the reasons, Blake, that I'm glad to have this now public, it was not mine to share publicly, but one of the criticisms we've received is that we don't care, we're not investigating every lead, we're not looking under every stone, and that somehow we're just sweeping things under the rug. And when I say that we want justice for Charlie more than anybody else, I really mean it, and no stone unturned. I mean, I don't know if you want to chime in on that part alone, but I have more to say.
Yeah, so it has been so frustrating to have people blow up about this.
Yeah.
And I've certainly stated publicly, the reason I haven't weighed in on things is I am an eyewitness to events, and they've said, don't comment on things because anything you say can mess that up. I don't want to mess up any trial for the person who did this.
That's 1,000% right. And I will say I wasn't an eyewitness. I was not there. I flew to Utah immediately to be with the family and the team, but I was not an eyewitness. So there's that. But I am aware that in my role as spokesman for Turning Point USA, which is another hat I wear, that things I say, I'm cognizant of the fact that things I say could negatively impact an ongoing investigation. All right. But I will weigh in specifically on this issue of Israel because I know there's a lot of fascination. And I just want to say that.
Okay, let's stop for a hot second and process so far. He's saying, hey, this text message is legitimate. I sent it to the authorities because we wanted to make sure they had every little piece of information. No rock was left unturned. As I hear that, that tells me that behind the scenes, TPUSA is doing more than what you and I might understand that they're doing. I think that's pretty reasonable, pretty fair, that they're doing a lot more than what we understand. And that works. That does make sense. My only problem is I really wish he had maybe pushed back and asked the question, or maybe even didn't address it, but just say, hey, that was a private text message. How did Candace get it? Because that's a much bigger problem. If Andrew is saying he sent that text message to officials, sent that text message to authorities, and didn't send it out to anybody else, how did they get it? How did she get access to it? Is that his only? Is that from his screen? Is that the one that he sent rather? Or is it another one? That would be some questions that I probably would have put out there rather than addressing where they're about to go, which in my opinion, he could have actually put the kibosh on and said, this is a private conversation. I'm pretty sure that there are at the current moment, good mercy, about 815 people in the best live chat on the internet. Well, I think we all know that we wouldn't want every message that we've sent out in all of our various and sundry group texts just made available to who? Just put them out there for the world to scrutinize? That would be crazy. I wouldn't want that. I don't think anybody would. And I'm not even a criminal. And I know I'm assuming there's no criminals in here, but you got my point. Like, I can understand that. I just don't think that what he's about to say as it relates to Israel, in my opinion, needs to go forward. I just don't think he needs to say it. My name is Jason. I respect TPUSA, but you'll see in a second. So let's get this going. So Andrew has confirmed that the text message, the black text message that Candace Owens alleged was in that Rob McCoy was in and so forth, that was legitimate. So he has said, I think I have a picture of it. He has confirmed, rather, that text message is legitimate. So this text message right here is legit. Okay, the one that we saw yesterday, that one is legitimate. Okay, that's fine. There's just some other questions that, in my opinion, instead of starting to answer it, because by answering the question, you create more questions. Because I would ask, like, what was the genesis of this conversation? What was the end? What happened next? So on and so forth. I would have probably asked more questions. It would probably only muddy the water more. I would have just asked, hey, that was a private text message. How did Candace get it? That would have probably been, in my opinion, a better question. Sorry. All right, let's go.
We have to let free speech be our North Star here, okay? Charlie was adamantly free speech, and I am not personally going to impugn anybody's character who is asking questions and looking for answers, all right? And I will say that text chain is consistent with public frustrations that he voiced many times. And I know, Blake, you were in the trenches on a lot of this stuff because we were workshopping how we were going to do the tour and what he's going to get asked about Israel, what was he going to say. And this is consistent with things that he told his friends, people that are, in the wider movement, about his wrestle that he was going. And so I just want to say, like, what is the truth about the way Charlie felt about Israel? Well, it's complicated and it's nuanced, and it was a wrestle that was going on for months, and it's probably somewhere between the BB letter and the text group text.
I don't even think there's a between about it. I think those are entirely consistent with the exact same worldview. Yes. Charlie was not hiding things from people. People are going to try to make you fixate on a particular quote or a particular line to make you think that there was some.
Hold on real quick. Just a real quick question. Did the audio go up? Did the audio just improve real quick? Did y'all notice that? Anybody notice that? That the audio improved? Looking for a quick, I just want to make sure. All right, perfect. Because somebody last night's show, it sounded like the audio was really low. I think I fixed it. So we're behind the scenes. All right, we're going.
There was nothing hidden about Charlie's views on Israel. Like Charlie, I worked with Charlie on every major issue that we talked about, immigration, abortion, the transgender stuff. And he thought about the Israel issue a ton, all the time. It was in the news all the time. People cared about it a lot. He cared about it a lot. Just before the shooting happened, I finished reading, this is a 700-page book about the history of the Israel-Palestine conflict. I read this book because Charlie said, Blake, get really well-versed on this so you can help me whenever it comes up and just know stuff off the top of your head.
Yeah.
So I read it for that reason. If you want to know Charlie's views on the Gaza war, he wanted the war to end. He didn't want America to take Palestinian refugees. He was annoyed when people advocated that. He didn't want American troops on the ground there or with any other war. And he was upset when he saw stories about churches being damaged or Christians being killed. But at the same time, he recognized Hamas started the war. Hamas could end the war. Israel ultimately represented European civilization. Hamas represented Middle Eastern barbarism. And Hamas were the chief evildoers, and people who supported them were almost always supporting them for these bad, like, anti-civilizational reasons.
Yeah.
That's what his view was. And he was public about that. And then as it continued, Charlie talked to young people all the time. He could see what was going on the internet. He could see among young conservatives, there was a big shift to be hostile to Israel. There was a shift big time on the left, but it was also visible on the right. He could tell anti-Semitism was rising in America, and that upset him. Charlie was public about this. He loved Israel. He cared about Israel, and he cared about how that. Well, and he wanted to help the pro-Israel movement.
Yeah, and I want to play this. It's a long clip, but I said something on the Alex Clark show that was, in my mind, completely consistent with Charlie's public views about Israel, and that is something that he expressed very publicly on Megyn Kelly. Now, I know this clip has gone viral, but I think it's worth playing again. So here's Charlie in his own words with Megyn Kelly. Cut 6.
Okay, I'm going to stop for a hot second. I have no idea why the audio is so low then. I apologize, y'all. I might have to do some deconstruction after the show. But in my opinion, my name is Jason. There's no reason for us to be having a discussion about Charlie's views on Israel because it only validates the complete crazy wackadoodle conspiracy that Israel was somehow involved in the murder of Charlie Kirk. Now, if we want to say, hey, the murder of Charlie Kirk is over here, and there's a totally different conversation over here about his views related to Israel, and they don't mesh and they don't mix and they don't intertwine, maybe we could have that conversation. But having this conversation, why are we having a conversation about Charlie's views on Israel? Because Candaspiracy has chummed the water to the point of a fever pitch that everybody believes that Israel had something to do with the deletion of Charlie Kirk. That's the only reason they're having this conversation. That's it. You're not having a conversation about Charlie Kirk's interview with me when he came knocking on my door and told me that he was going to invite me to come on stage and work for him, right? Because you can't prove that he didn't do that. Well, we know that that's crazy. I just made that craziness up. But you got my point. The only reason we're having a dialogue right now, 4 weeks after Charlie Kirk's death, is because Candace Owens has got everybody arguing about whether or not Israel was involved in his murder. That's it. And my opinion, they should not be having this conversation. There's no reason for it. Fine. Charlie Kirk loved Israel. He didn't like their policies. He thought the war was bad. He didn't want refugees. None of that stuff matters today. What are we having a conversation about? Why are we talking about it? Why? TPUSA didn't do it. I mean, she's tacitly said that TPUSA did it. So why are we having this conversation? Insane. I'm sorry. I don't think they should be doing this.
And I will say this, the behavior by a lot, both privately and publicly, are pushing people like you and me away. Not like we're going to be pro-Hamas, not like we're going to, but we're like, honestly, the way you are treating me is so repulsive. I have text messages, Megan, calling me an anti-Semite. I am learning biblical Hebrew and writing a book on the Shabbat. I honor the Shabbat. Literally the Jewish Sabbath. I visit Israel and fight for it. And there's another article out in the Times of Israel today. I could read it on air. I was just reading before I got on. Charlie, what are you doing? Like, why are you, what am I doing? I'm sorry. Like, let's just take a step back here. Like, I'm an American citizen. Yes, I want Israel to win. Yes, I'm a Christian. But like, some of the mess, and you've seen how I've been treated, Megan, by some, not all, by some.
No, it's very irritating.
It's
been so unfair. They were coming after you after Turning Point for, among other things, that you had Dave Smith there. Dave Smith is allowed to criticize Israel. You had both sides. The Israeli side was overrepresented.
Though. No, you're not allowed to. It's even worse than that. Again, I just want to repeat for the 5th time. I love Israel. I want Israel to win. But my moral character is now being put into question, Megan. Not my decisions. Not like, hey, are you doing this? Is it smart or is it dumb? But no, I am a bad person if I do this. And I could go, I mean, you saw it, Megan. It was trending on Twitter, thousands of tweets and text messages. And if I were to be charitable and generous, I will say the people that are attacking me are in a hyper paranoid state because they're at war, and war tends to make things black and white, and you're a hammer looking for a nail. So I'm trying to be charitable, Megan. Literally, I'm trying to cut as much slack as I can, right? Like, okay, what would it be like if all of a sudden I'm starting to see a pattern of behavior similar to what my grandparents saw in 1930s Germany online? How would I behave? So that's like my charitable kind of overcompensation spirit. At the same time, I'm like, but it's not defensible to be dumb, right?
Yeah.
So,
and it's offensive. It's offensive to those of us who have been out there defending them in many instances against critics on our own side.
So this group chat text.
Okay, so look, real quick, listening to Charlie's words, I think most of us can say, hey, he respects Israel, but he has some concerns, and he has a problem with people who, when he voices his concerns, they immediately go ballistic. They go to the other end of the table that, oh, well, you hate them. Like, no, I respect them. I care for them. I want the best for them. I want them to move differently. And I do think that's very consistent with the letter that he wrote to Bibi. I mean, he said that in the letter to Bibi, for crying out loud. So I don't see where the problem is. All I'm saying is we don't need to be having this conversation in the same context of how was he murdered? In this conversation, these two don't even match. We're reading a book and another book at the same time. It doesn't make any sense. There's no reason. These two need to be separate. We can have the conversation about Charlie Kirk's murder and his views on Israel. Okay, whatever. But we can't, because this is what we're tacitly saying, is that Israel's involved in it. And I don't think that's where we want to land. Let's go.
He does say, that he is leaving him no choice but to leave the pro-Israel side. Here's what I want people to know. Charlie said these things publicly and privately to us, like that he was frustrated. He would say something like that, and then he would go in a public situation and he would strike a more moderate tone. And we can blow the brakes if we have to.
No, I wouldn't frame it that way. I would say he was frustrated because he didn't like. We can get into this actually once we get past the break here.
Well, no, it's fine. What I'm saying is he would be frustrated, but like the point when I say moderate tone, when he would say something off the cuff, maybe to you or to me or to some other friend, like his public statements, he would kind of strike just a little bit more tender tone, if you will. And so here's the thing. I looked at that moment as like he's just blowing off steam. He's frustrated. He's venting, right? And I just want to say, like, he made that very clear under any circumstances that he was not going to be cowed or bullied into deplatforming Tucker, for example. He made that expressly clear to us. Would he have invited Candace? I have no idea. I think what he was saying in that text, he's like, keep coming at me, bro, and let's see what happens, right? And Charlie was wonderfully defiant. He was wonderfully independent, and he would not, he believed in the freedom of speech, and he felt like he deserved, as a friend of Israel over many years, the right to speak out and have criticism. Charlie was loyal to people that he had shared history with, right? He was asked, I think this may be what you were about to say, Blake, he was asked about Candace before in public, and he would always say, listen, we're friends. He would never say an ill word about her, and if people, tried to force him to do that about Tucker or whatever, he would always be defiant because he didn't want to be morally blackmailed.
Exactly. Charlie was loyal to people who had ever been friends to him, whether it was very old donors or just people who had worked with Turning Point.
Yep.
And as long as they were not attacking him, he would not air any dirty laundry or, frankly, any disagreements he had with people. He did disagree with Candace on the Israel issue. He disagreed with Tucker on the Israel issue. But he also recognized Tucker had positions they agreed on. Tucker was a useful voice in the conservative movement on many things, and so he invited him to events, and they were popular events. And so he would react. Sometimes people would just say, yeah, don't invite him, or we're going to, cut off some large donation. And that would make him angry. He would say, this, as you say, this is moral blackmail. And he's this Scottish guy. He's combative. His reaction to that is, the classic, like, screw me, no, screw you, that sort of thing.
He had this, and it's one of my favorite parts about Charlie is just how defiant and independent he was. Yeah, he was never going to
be. He could not be controlled by other people.
You could not buy him. He was not bought and paid for. You could not control him with money. It just wasn't the way he was wired. He didn't actually care about money that much.
And so what's going on here? What is going on here? You guys can look up what the text say. What is going on is Charlie, as I mentioned, he loved Israel. He cared about Israel. He cared about the Holy Land, and he was aware there was a surge of anti-Israel sentiment on the right. Charlie thought seriously about this issue and was trying to chart a path forward for people who were sympathetic to Israel. He was playing the good cop here. He was saying, you guys don't realize how bad it could potentially get. Mm-hmm. You have to change your PR. That's why he writes a letter to Bibi. You are losing the PR war. You need to change how you do your PR. You need to change your messaging to the American right. You might need to change what you expect from us, that you're not going to be able to count on just, for example, unlimited military aid from America. That's just not going to be tenable going forward. So maybe it has to be a more passive relationship. Maybe you need to give more support towards America. Some more support towards America in, for example, opposing Islamic migration into America. That's one thing he thought we could ally on. And he was trying to do all of this because he cared about the relationship and wanted to chart a way forward on it. And he would feel angry and upset when people would react to this by blowing up and suggesting he was an anti-Semite or a hater. He would get angry about that because he knew it was untrue. And then he would sometimes vent about this. Yeah. He would vent about this to people who understood that, who were pro-Israel people who shared his view on that issue.
Well, exactly. And just why I, didn't share this publicly, it was because this was a private message between Charlie and some people, some Jews and non-Jews, where he was, frustrated. He was frustrated, and that would have felt like a betrayal to my friend because he never said anything like that publicly in like a
And also, it's not appropriate. Why are we having that conversation? Like, why would you share that publicly? What would be any reason to do so? Again, everybody in this chat has a group text or something going on that you don't want exposed into the world. For what? Why would you put that out there? That's the craziest thing. It makes no sense. And to me, I even the idea, I don't think Andrew should have done most of this video. I respect Andrew. I don't think he should have did most of what he's doing. That being the case, I still want him to ask, how did Candace get it? That should have been a better issue. That should have been a better one. How did Candace get it? Because it was a private text message that I only shared with the authorities. So how did she get it? That should have been it, in my opinion, because the rest of it is not, it doesn't matter what he thought about Israel, unless you're trying to say that Israel is responsible for the deletion of Charlie Kirk. If you're not trying to say that, then we don't need to talk about those two things together. It doesn't make sense. Let's finish up.
Show, right? He said things with Megan that were very, like we just played them. I went on Alex Clark's show and I felt like I did a faithful job of expressing what I believed his genuine feelings were. And I just want to say like one final note here. Actually, we're gonna welcome back radio, and then we'll have Mark Halperin on. But I have a couple final housekeeping items, I guess you could call them, and then we'll go from there. So hang tight 1 second. We'll welcome back radio, and we'll finish up this segment. All right.
Okay, and that was the end of the whole brouhaha over Charlie Kirk's, changing his position on Israel, supporting Israel, not supporting Israel, whatever, fill in the blanks. I personally don't think they should have did that. I feel like they did give Candace a lot of fodder. Matter of fact, her new episode is called With Friends Like These, and it's got Andrew on the thumbnail. So we already know where she's going to go. We already know. But I don't think that this was necessary. I appreciate him expounding a little bit, but really when the smoke clears at the end of the day, it wasn't necessary, in my opinion. Respect to them for sure. However, I do think most of us had the same opinion about the infamous, the nefarious Doge comment, the Doge memo. We're going to talk about that in a second. But first, let me real quick shout out these fantastic supers. MT came through. Thank you so much for blessing. He says this: I don't understand why Andrew doesn't share the subsequent text. That's my point. Also, chest beating when she's been wrong, lying repeatedly is wild, full on cult. I agree 1000% MT, and I agree with this as well. Still don't understand how you get text highlight like that on WhatsApp web. You know what? That's a great question. I'm gonna open up WhatsApp right now. Okay, yeah, it shows up like that. But this seems like a throw the dog a bone to save your butt type of move. I agree. However she got the message is what we need to be having a discussion about. That's what I think we need to be doing. Thank you so much for that. And then we got a $10 super here with 198X. Let's be real. She's claiming, A, that Tyler Robinson didn't kill Charlie, and B, Charlie got killed because he was reuniting with her. She hasn't provided a single receipt that proved either. I agree 100%. And she also hasn't proved a lot of the things that she said. And I'll just be honest with you, the text message isn't as bad as she's trying to make it sound. And she might, as I said before, she has a problem with reading really negative things into everything. It really doesn't matter. She's going to make it sound as bad as possible, or if it's something to her favor, it's going to be very, very beneficial and said very favorably. And that's just it. Shout out and thank you so much for that $10 super. I appreciate you. MT coming back around the block again. He says this: save your butt as a reputation, not involvement with Charlie. If Andrew was going to confirm, he should have shared the next few texts. He's not helping. That's my point. Like, I don't think he needed to do that at all, in my opinion. Susie Q coming around here as well. Charlie expressed concerns on the Megyn Kelly show. We just watched that, of course. It's been known the text messages are irrelevant. I agree. And personally, I think, again, since he's already said it, it's not brand new information, not revelation knowledge, unless you haven't been paying attention to what he did, what he said on Megyn Kelly. If you've just gotten your PhD in Charlie Kirkology in the last 3 weeks, you might not have known all that. And then therein is the rub. Because a lot of people, they're being honest, they really didn't know much about Charlie before then. And again, MT, thank you again, man. Thank you. You're going to be the stream sponsor, man. I can make you the stream sponsor. Also, it makes it look like Charlie was pro-Israel for money without the rest of the conversation. Donors don't owe anyone their money, by the way, but I get why he was irked. There we go. Candace wants love of her life, Charlie, to be Catholic, who hated Israel like she does. By the way, notice he said Tucker was a useful voice, not Candace. That's a good point. You caught that. And then lastly, you got Sir K up in here with the $5 super as well. The more you engage Candace, the worse it gets because she's into finding faults, not looking for truth. She's trying to bring TPUSA down. I don't disagree. I don't disagree at all. Hence why I said I don't think they should have engaged her. But I will say this Doge comment is actually pretty useful. So let's bring it in. Let's go.
One thing that I'm just, again, I want to reiterate. This is an ongoing investigation. There are things that are happening that I don't know about. I also, however, am cognizant of the fact that whatever I say could, first of all, it could negatively implicate an ongoing investigation. But I also want you guys to think about, before you press send, before you hit publish, just think about, maybe tainting a jury pool. Maybe the implications could be negative in that way. Another thing I want to say is that when it veers into, attacking some of the people that love Charlie the most and were closest to him, I just want you to have pause and think maybe, there's so many people around here, Blake, that haven't even had a chance to grieve yet fully, right? Because you go from this and then obviously, and I don't begrudge people, or I'm not going to impugn their character for asking questions, because I think a lot of it comes out of love and respect for Charlie and wanting the truth. And I just want to say, me too. I want the truth. That's why I shared that screen grab in the first place, because no stone unturned. But here's two things that I know about Charlie, and I think you would back me up on this, Blake. Two things I know Charlie would not want to see come out of the investigation, or just the, people's fascination with this case. He would not want to see it divide the movement or divide the coalition, because he worked so hard at helping build the coalition, the Trump coalition, and helping build the movement and the many players that play such an important role in it. And he wouldn't want to see it hurt Turning Point USA. This Turning Point USA, he loved like you can't believe. It was his baby. He put so much time and energy into building Turning Point, into picking the people that could play in different roles. And I know that those are the two things Charlie wouldn't want to see happen out of this. But again, I actually totally am sympathetic. A lot of you have been lied to. A lot of us have been lied to by people that shouldn't be lying to us, whether that be about COVID or lockdowns or even what happened with the President Butler. There's still open questions there. I am very sympathetic to wanting to get the truth of these things. But again, just because I don't say things publicly doesn't mean that we aren't asking questions privately or we aren't pursuing things privately. And I think this is an example of that. And I'm just really, it wasn't mine to share publicly, but I'm actually just really excited that it's public, okay? Because I want the truth to be known. The truth was, it was a wrestle. And actually, Blake, you know that probably better than anybody, because you were helping him really prepare on the Israel topic for this tour. And the last thing, and I've been asked to address this by a few people that are in really good faith, some people on our team, and that is Doge, that the idea that there was a concern about the finances, first of all, of Turning Point. First of all, of course, Charlie drove always, constant improvement. That was one of the things that he was really fixated. He loved Doge so much that he made us make Doge shirts on the show. These are currently on the show website. Kind of down low, Charlie was a bit of a Elon Musk fanboy. He really loved that Elon built things in America. He didn't just make his money by selling financial instruments or pieces of paper or hedging bets. He builds beautiful things, well-designed things. So he really loved Doge and wanted to sort of bring that spirit. And I just want to say, every spring, he would kind of plan the fall audit, and he would try and drive improvement because he wanted to know where every dollar was going. He just loved Doge. I mean, it's one of those. There's not a whole lot more there on the Doge thing, but you know this as well. But anything else you want to add before we bring Halperin in?
Yeah, I want to really emphasize that people will use screen grabs of things to suggest there was distance between what Charlie personally believed and what he said publicly, and I really don't think there was. I think anything you can see in a screenshot from any group chat is also what Charlie was saying publicly. Charlie would say publicly, I am frustrated by what pro-Israel people in the U.S. do to pressure people. I am frustrated.
Well, he thought it was counterproductive.
He actually thought it was making the problem worse. It was counterproductive for the issue at large, and it was personally hurtful to him because he faced attacks that he thought were unjustified and and were hurtful to him because they were people he considered friends and allies. And he cared a lot about that because Charlie, as I've always said, Charlie was a person who cared. He was a good person. He cared about the good of America. He cared about the good of the world.
He was America
He cared
first,
about
too.
the good of American Jews. He cared about the good of Christians. And he saw that the Israel issue was important to all of those things, and he wanted to have a healthy way forward in that relationship. That is why he did the panel at Student Action Summit. That's why he would talk about this so much. He was trying to chart a good way forward in that, and he met opposition and obstacles that frustrated him. I saw it all the time. I talked to him about it all the time. I talked to him at length. How should we word things? Because this is something we have to be careful on, and we have to be precise on.
Yeah.
And that's how it was. That's how he seriously took the issue.
These chats, by the way, like it was a place for him to feel like he could vent, right? And so anyways,
hey, I appreciate it, man. Yeah. I really do appreciate that conversation. I just don't know if it really was as helpful as they would like it to come across. And I feel like it might muddy the water more. And to somebody ask the question, yeah, we'll switch over when Candace jumps on, and we'll just do a watch party right here. But I do think, here's my thoughts. Here are my thoughts. And one, I don't get from from the letter to BB to various and sundry lectures and speeches and the things that he's done, that his position was changing as much as it was becoming more frustrated and a little bit perturbed with people that were not trying to do the right thing. I can understand that. On both sides of the discussion, I can see that. That makes perfect sense to me. The other thing is, everything, I think we as Christians and we as people who maybe want the best for Israel, we who want the best for Christians abroad and so on and so forth, we might need to stop making every sentence end in Israel. Everything is not around Israel. Please understand that. I know that might sound, people might have a problem with that, and I can understand. But Israel is not everything. They really aren't. What's going on over in Israel right now is not impeding the fact that you have to go to work tomorrow. It's not going to make it easier for you to get to work, make it more difficult for you to get to work. Not going to do anything. So maybe we don't need to make every sentence punctuated with Israel or Gaza or Palestine or anything else for that matter. Unless you live there, then you rock on Donkey Kong. But we here in the United States, that's not we really truly might need to tamper that down just a little bit and say, hey, it is important. It's just not everything important. That literally our whole entire upheaval of our system because of what's going on in Israel. Let's not do that. That's a lap entirely too far. And I do think that with this discussion, now we can watch it because we'll see it over here when we jump over here on Candace Live. That's all they talk about. They snort it, they inject it mainline, they smoke it. All they do is talk about Israel. They're losing their minds over Israel. And I don't think we should do that. That's just I don't think we should embrace this notion that literally every sentence is punctuated. I made the joke. I said, y'all treat Israel like it's a punctuation mark. Like every sentence, you got to put Israel at the end. Stop it. It's important, absolutely. But no, it's not that important, people. Pump the brakes. Christ is way more important than that. Does Christ love Israel? Absolutely. Does Christ love Jason? Absolutely. Does he love the 1,997 people in this live chat? Most certainly. But really, at the end of the day, maybe we should tamper down the importance of Israel. Again, it's just like this completely, omnipresent punctuation mark. Stop it. Stop it. And we're going to watch it over here when we jump over to Candace Live. We'll see it. But maybe we should just be like, maybe we should pump the brakes on that, because I got to take care of my family. I sat down and did our will today with my wife. And while we were doing our will, my niece called me. I love my niece, right? And she called me and she's like, where are you? I said, well, me and your aunt are getting our wills taken care of. She started crying and bawling on the phone. She's like, what do you need a will for? I said, well, baby, I know you love it. I know you love having me around, but I'm not going to be here forever. And she was like, I've never thought of that. And she was really bothered. She was really upset. I'm like, well, good. I'm glad somebody cares about your uncle. I said, but baby, I'm not going to be here forever. And I don't want my daughters and you fighting over my Stanley Cup, because y'all will be fighting about my Stanley Cup. Maybe I'll put my body in it. I don't know. But I need to tell y'all what to do. And so there's other stuff that we got to do, right? There's a lot of other stuff. And Bibi Netanyahu is not coming to fix my grass problems in my front yard. I got these grass spots. I'm like, what the devil? I got these spots. And I try to call him. I try to call Bibi, or all the Mossad and all of them. And nobody's coming to fix these grass spots. I need to fix those bald spots in my yard. That's my job. So maybe Israel isn't important in every aspect of our lives. Just maybe. That's all I want you to think about. But I do want to say thank y'all so much for tapping in with us today. Oh, my goodness. Thank you, MT, again. MT says this: the more you engage Candace, I believe you said that. Thank you so much again for the $5 super. He also dropped a 2. He says this: it was intentional, sloppy, but intentional. I kind of wish Andrew would have just, since he went there, maybe explained more of the text message, or don't explain it at all. I really wish it was one or the other, because I don't think that he gave us enough to put a calm to what we're going to probably see when we jump over and watch Candace Live. Liked and subscribed. If you're new here, please like and subscribe. If you're new here, welcome to the best live chat on the internet. Thank you so much. And again, MT coming through. Yes, I'm sick of all of the Israel talk. Pro or anti? Yeah, like really, I am pro Cobb County, Georgia. There we go. There we go. That's it. Maybe we should talk about where we're pro. I am pro Whitaker Park. I am pro getting this fescue grass to behave right next year. That's what I'm pro, right? Like everything is not, Israel is not everything. If Israel is so powerful and world dominating, you're going to tell me little candy farmer is the one? Y'all come on with the $5. Really? But let me say this, with all of the loose lip that Candace is doing, you mean to tell me they take out Charlie Kirk because he was saying that they need to stop, they need to buy TikTok, but they let her stay around? Okay. That's what I'm supposed to believe. Thank you for the $5 super. Rosalie, thank you. Beth says, thank you for your channel. Thank you for the $5 super and supporting what we're doing over here. What is Texas Bully Mom? I was looking at your name earlier and I figured it out. I was like, oh, I get what it is. I had to look at the picture a little closer. I believe she has a hate for Israel. Wait, was that up for discussion? I thought that was kind of like common knowledge because it reminds of Amnesty and Amnesty on the way she got fired from Daily Wire. I like it. I just know that it's pretty clear that Candace has a beef and an issue. I don't think we should succumb on either side of the discussion, especially if we're here in the States. We can be concerned about other places, but look, we got a lot of problems right here that we need to worry about. And I don't think that worrying about something 9 time zones away will make us any better and make us more robust right here. Because unless they coming over here to get these ball patches in my fescue, I'm going to need to figure that out. So there we go. That's just it. Bibi and Mossad and Hamas, none of them are coming over here to fix this grass. That's what I know. I love the Candace is just trying to poke the bear so hard that she wants Erica and Andrew to crash out. No question about it. Like, for example, why is it that she doesn't even mention Erica in any kind of moment? Okay, fine. You cared about Charlie Kirk, but he was married to Erica. Why are you not at all even mentioning her at all? Like, man, I just got off the phone with Erica. We were praying and the such of that nature. I really want the best for her and the kids. Blah 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 blah. Where's that? Okay, fine. If you want me to believe that it's all about being concerned about who finding the killer, what about worrying about the living? I'm just wondering. Maybe we could also put a little bit of energy in with the living and say, hey, I was talking to I was rocking with Erica, proceeds from these ad reads that I've been doing for the last 4 weeks while I've been collecting millions of dollars. Those proceeds will be going to the Kirk children to help them out with the things that they need. Maybe just possible. Okay. Maybe I'm just tripping. Lots of good conversation, man. The family reunion in the chat has gone crazy. Oh, I need them Qatari dollars. Okay. All right. Like, you know what? And I don't think this person means it. I don't think he means it. I'm not leave that alone. I just think it's interesting how this conversation is morphed. Yo, thank you so much. What do we have here? Hammer. An atomic bomb with no uranium in it is just a dud. That's like a truth bomb with no truth in it. Confirmation bias will lead you to believe the untrue and expose the truth about you. Expose the truth about you. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for the $10 super hammer. And I appreciate that very wise statement. I like that. We don't need no truth bombs with no truth in it. I like that. Excellent conversation going on up in here in the most electrifying live chat on the planet. And your girl is about to get started. So we will bring her on in a second. Let me do this. I'll just wait until we get that opening. She does that opening. We'll get that out of the way and we'll jump back up in here. Thank you so much. I mean, Brielle is right. She should be paying attention to her Macron lawsuit before she finds herself in a new one. I mean, she does move like she's completely untouchable. So it's a head scratcher to say the least. Why hasn't her husband left her? Q says, good gracious, man. You spend so much time on one man that is not me. And I mean, I agree with you. Yeah, see, came my way. She agrees. Like, let's work on America. And, Candace liked to say that, Trump was not America first. Well, I mean, you seem to be obsessed with something that's not America first, too. I'm just saying. Lots of good conversation going on up in here. Appreciate y'all rocking with us for sure. Thank you so much to the moderators. Thank you so much to all of them, as well as our new members. Look, we got... add to the family. Right here we got Donna KC6 up in the building. Thank you so much for becoming a member. And Alex coming back up in here again with the 1790. The point of Israel and Jews is to be light unto the nations. A chosen project of God is not necessarily a good thing. It's heavy responsibility. Oh, I'm not saying that it's not. And I'm not dogging Israel out. What I am saying is, I think part of the reason that there's a problem in this quote unquote rift that Candace is trying to drive an 18-wheeler through is because people are losing focus on what they are also supposed to be doing. And therein is the rub. But thank you so much for that 1790. Super. I appreciate you. And welcome, Donna. Thank you. New members up in here. All right. I'm going to just jump through here. And Just so you know, your cousin has not started her show yet. I found you on Apostate Prophet and Dave Woods. Oh, well then, Leonardo, then you come with good credibility then. You need to stream with them like ASAP. Shout out. Thank you so much for the $5 super. Hey, I love Apostate Prophet and David Woods. They are great content creators. I'm glad you found me, and I'm glad to have them as my brothers. Shout out for sure. What do we have here? Man, come on. Thank you so much. Just Rhonda with the $10 super says this. I live in Utah County. 4th District County is only about 5 miles away. I've never been called to jury duty in my life. Maybe this is my trial. How would it feel about it? I thought I would want to. That is kind of wild. What if you did get called? That would be bonkers. I've only been called twice, and it's way early on in my life here in Georgia. But shout out to that. That would be funny if you got it. How crazy would that be to have somebody that's in this live chat actually be selected to be a juror? Now, of course, you would have to be out of here. We'd have to kick you out. You cannot be in the live chat and be a juror. But we'll let you. We'll leave the light on for you, though. Sure. That would be so out of control. Thank you so much. Wait a minute with the $15 as well. As a Black Israeli, we don't care about Candace because if we did, she could have been forlorted. Flotillaed. Greta Thunberg had no idea she was being recorded, and now she's in jail. Shout out to that. All right. So your girl is starting. We're going to have some fun today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure it's going to be wild. So let's just do it. With no further ado, let's go. All right. And the watch party is beginning. Let's go.
All right, you guys, happy Tuesday. I got to tell you something. Twitter, or X, it hasn't really been that fun in a really long time. I think Elon Musk clearly gave it away to the military, and we now have to suffer these military bot farms calling for war with Iran. But last night, the platform was exceptional. It was amazing. The tears that were being shed all over the place. I mean, I really picked out the best responses to me dropping the text messages. It was hilarious. Anyway, Turning Point USA has responded to the release of the messages, so we are going to watch that. Spoiler alert, they were real, of course. And on top of that, a Turning Point USA donor has published a public letter regarding me, and I was truly touched by it, and I think you will be too, so I want to share that. Welcome back to Candace.
Let's go, people. Man, this woman's, the amount of self-importance that she has is going to be studied by science. She really believes in her story.
My little sister called me this morning and she was like, Candace, your podcast right now is like the show Succession on HBO. You guys know this show, which is about how all of the heirs and supposed to be kind of fashioned after Rupert Murdoch's throne. All the siblings are fighting one another to see who will it be that gets this empire. That really made me chuckle. I think that should be our new show intro. Yes. Who will succeed Charlie Kirk? Who shall inherit the Turning Point throne? You know what, you guys? The best part of all of this for me is, unlike those ill-begotten heirs on the show, I have a 0% interest in Charlie's empire. I am not motivated by the idea of carrying on his torch. Not for a single moment did I think any person could carry on his torch. If you thought you could, you clearly did not know Charlie Kirk. Charlie was, in fact, an anomaly in the system that happens rarely. And I don't know that I will live to see another person like him. I want you guys to know something. I want to share this with you. You can take it or you can leave it, but Charlie was betrayed. I know this. I've known this really since the first second, but I rarely have vivid dreams. And I did, in fact, have a very vivid one over the weekend. In fact, the last time that I had a super vivid dream, I was pregnant. It tends to happen a lot to women when they're pregnant. But in that dream from 2023, my former producer of the show and I were standing in the control room, and she told me that she was 26 weeks pregnant. This is in the dream. And she told me exactly what month the baby was coming. I asked her in the dream, is it a boy? Is it a girl? And she said, it's a boy. I woke up and I immediately texted my producer in real life and I said, hey, you're pregnant, just so you know, it's a boy. And then she found out that she was pregnant 1 week later. She had no idea when I texted her. And it's something that we reflected on a couple of months later because she was just totally shocked looking back on it. And this is our text chain from, you can see, 2023. She said, you texted me June 16th. And I think I got pregnant June 26th. This is crazy. And it's going to be a boy. It's nuts. I said, I'm telling you, your baby visited me. It was an insanely vivid dream. He was on his way. And she said, that is so bizarre. My mom also texted me that week saying that she had a dream I was pregnant. I said, I haven't had a dream that vivid since. It's been my only vivid dream this entire pregnancy. I believe people can communicate in dreams on their way in and on their way out of this world. I similarly, like I just said, had a vivid dream this weekend, and Charlie came to me and he told me that he was betrayed. And so for me, you don't have to believe that, but I do believe that. And it was the immediate sense I got, actually. And I don't know who exactly it is that betrayed him, but I also felt in the dream that it is soon going to be revealed, that it's actually inevitable that it is going to be revealed, that there is nothing and no one that is going to stop the truth from coming out, and it is going to have international consequences. Take that to the bank. Quote me on that. Women tend to have a stronger intuition about people, I would say. I think it was the writer, producer, Conrad Flynn, that recently went on to Tucker Carlson's show, and he discussed that phenomenon in the context of the persecution of Christ. He's talking about Pontius Pilate's wife warning him not to persecute Jesus. Take a listen to that portion of their conversation.
What?
And if you look at Pontius Pilate, you know, he wants to set, he at some point he flips and he's like, this guy is innocent. My wife is having dreams about this man. That's another thing that's underreported in history. Wife as soothsayer / dreamer. Yeah. I mean, your wife has many times been like, I have a bad feeling about this guy, Tucker. Don't have him on your show. And her intuition is such that even though there's no necessarily hard evidence, you know, it's your wife's take on stuff. You don't ignore it. But I
have ignored it. And
you're like, I've actually never listened to that.
No, I mean, I've been married 34 years as of Saturday, and it's like a joke in my house, you know. I told you he was bad. I don't know. He's hilarious. He seemed like a good guy to me. You know?
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So you'd be the Pontius Pilate where she's like, don't arrest this man. I had a dream.
100%.
And you're like, whatever. I'm doing my work right now.
I'm very shallow. So someone who's amusing or fun to have dinner with, you know, I just get swept away. I like that guy. You know what I mean?
You're like, Barabbas was amazing on that podcast. I gotta have him on. He's fantastic.
It's actually really funny because I'm recapping conversations that I've had with Tucker where I'm like, I don't know why you trust that person.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This, as DL said, and many of you have also said, that's not a good thing necessarily. You can develop discernment. Everybody can discern a problem, can learn to discern through the scriptures and prayer. But this little going with your gut thing, albeit, I mean, we've all done it, but just to say, oh yeah, when women have a better appeal toward it, nothing can go wrong with that. Good gracious.
At all. It's obviously a bad guy. He's like, really, I like him, but I had a really nice dinner with him. Anyways, obviously what they're accurately describing, but I should say, especially between a husband and a wife, definitely my relationship with my husband, I can say that from almost the very moment that I learned that Charlie was not going to make it, I said to George through tears that he was betrayed.
I'm going to go on a limb and say, I feel pretty comfortable that if we were playing a drinking game, and we've been playing for the last 4 weeks, and the drinking game was take a drink every time Candace says her husband's name, you would be stone cold sober. That's all I'm going to say. It don't make any sense.
And now we're all just sort of on this journey to find out by who. So I released a text message yesterday, dropped it on the world, and it caused, and this is putting it mildly, a lot of panic. As I said, the chatter on X was top tier. Emphasis on the tier, because there were a lot of them being shed by everyone who was discounting me. She's this, she's that, she's lying. Charlie never changed his mind. He was committed to Israel to the day he died. In fact, he almost died for Israel. That was the vibe they were putting down, and I was getting angrier and angrier and angrier. But self-control always pays off. There were moments on X where people were, after this text message was revealed, almost like bargaining, like, please, this can't be real. Let me show you. They're making fake messages themselves. This is how easy it is to make a fake message. This cannot be real. They were accusing, deluding themselves into believing whatever was necessary for them not to accept the reality that I was telling the truth. Of course, I was telling the truth. Here's just a few of my favorites. This is Village Crazy Lady, who I love, Mel, who was responding to an absurdity that was being presented by Ashton Forbes. Mel said, these losers are down so bad right now that they are literally using their own attack lines for defense. Ashton Forbes wrote, he's been absolutely maniacal. First off, Candace has no credibility. Second, there's a bunch of Telegram group chat scams that claim to be real people. I was briefly in touch with one, Elon Musk. Oh, really? You were in touch with Elon Musk on Telegram? Third, if you discount the text messages between Tyler Robinson and his trans furry lover, you cannot take these at face value. Lastly, even if the text messages were real, they mean literally nothing related to Charlie's death. I find it scary how Candace is building a literal cult. Soon, they'll be drinking Kool-Aid in sync with, I don't even know if that says 31 Atlas, to be sent to heaven. I think that might be a cult, actually. That's how I'm not in a cult at all. So much I don't even recognize. Was probably a very big cult's name. And I love that Mel replies and says, bro, if I got scammed in a Telegram group chat by Elon Musk, quote unquote, I'd take that ish to my grave. Britta, you can see she's also replying. He was replying to Britta, no soup for Knowles, if you want to bring that right back up. She wrote, and by the way, she used to work for Seth Dillon, so this is the usual chatter, a group of people. She wrote, is Candace posting fake group chat screenshots to conveniently back up her narrative that Charlie was dropping the pro-Israel cause and inviting Candace to the TPUS stage? I'm just asking questions. All fair. We allow questions. We even allow diagnoses. We're chill. We're on the side of truth. We are so chill. Laura Loomer, who is legally just, not allowed to own a gun because she's a literal lunatic, had the nerve to post this about me when somebody called her out. Morgan Ariel said, Laura Loomer hasn't made a single post about Candace Owens reporting on Charlie Kirk's group messages. We all know she's the first to run her mouth. And she wrote, because I don't give an F about Candace Owens and her postpartum psychotic rants. Even if those texts are real, it still does not mean that Israel killed Charlie Kirk. I never said that. Candace Owens makes content for low IQ people who don't understand how criminal investigations work. It's going to be hilarious when she is sued by TPUSA in addition to a croned life. Yes! Bankrupt her for telling the truth! Do it! Do it! Bankrupt her! Yeah. When you are down bad, just like Mel says, when they're really down bad, nothing is left, you just sue. Anyways, back to...
Let me ask a question, though. Let me just be serious. What does this information about the text message have to do with Charlie Kirk's murder? I mean, that is a real valid question. Now, whether or not you don't like the person that says it, that's beside the point. What does it matter? I don't understand. Are we trying to say that Israel is involved in the deletion of Charlie Kirk? If that's not what you're trying to say, then these two things don't need to be brought together. It doesn't make sense. There is no correlation between the two. Finish up, Jason.
How unhinged just chatter was on X, generally speaking. I laughed out loud. Everybody uses the term blitzkrieg. Even and the NFL football team say blitzkrieg. Yes, it relates back to Germany. It's a bombardment strategy, so that's why we use it when you're going to bombard. And so I called it blitzkrieg week, because we're just dropping a bunch of bombs. And Britta decided to take that literally. She said, Candace thinks it's cute to use Nazi terminology and make a turning point pun while she incites further harassment of TPUSA employees by implicating them in Charlie's death. It's a sick game for her. And out of nowhere, Megyn Kelly needs to stop making excuses for this vile behavior. I have no idea why Megyn Kelly is being just abused. It's like people just get drunk and beat Megyn Kelly when they get home. I don't know what is happening and why she's being dragged into anything that I say, but it's exceptional that they're now they're so desperate that German words, you can't even say blitz means lightning, Krieg means war, Last I checked, people are still allowed to speak German. And last I checked, everybody uses the terminology blitz, blitzkrieg. Washington Post certainly does when they're describing things that's happening at the White House. But now this is how desperate they are for anything, grasping at straws. Nick Fuentes, our routine federal informant, writes this.
Wow.
Why did she sit on this for 4 weeks and then censor the other names? Just grasping at straws. Just grasping at straws here. And he followed it up by taking a stab at Charlie Kirk, who's dead. Charlie Kirk said he had no choice to lead the pro-Israel cause because a Jewish donor stopped giving him millions of dollars. What a coincidence. He had his great epiphany about Israel after they stopped paying him to shill. Speaking of paying people to shill, it's...
Okay, I got to say this. Apparently, Candace Owens can sit on a message for however long she wants to whenever it's convenient to drop it, right? In the chat, Candace Owens can do that, right? Give me a thumbs up if you agree that Candace Owens can do that. She can she can sit on a message until she wants to deliver it, right? She can do that whenever. She can mention it, but whenever she wants to, she can just sit on it and be like, whatever, I'll just give it to you when I give it to you. You get it when you get and you don't pitch a fit, right? Okay, she can do that. But do any of you all remember what happened with BB's letter? Remember that? She wanted that letter that moment out of his hand. She wanted that letter immediately. And when he finally did reveal it and it was uploaded and made available, what was the first thing that Candace said? They said, why did it take so long? The exact same thing. Like they don't understand that they're being this duplicitous, that they're being this disingenuous in their approach. If Candace can sit on a tweet or a text or a group message, receipts, whatever, until she decides, and then one day just conveniently pop up and say, yeah, this, that, and the third about it, then BB can do it. Anybody can. If I roll up tomorrow and say, here's that letter that Charlie gave me when I said he wanted me to come and work for TPUSA. Don't ask me no questions about why I redacted names from it. Candace did. Don't ask me any questions about why it took me so long to reveal it to you. Candace does. I just think it's interesting how they handle that. Let's go. We're done. Wait, are we? Oh, what happened? We botched that up, Jason.
That's why I didn't take 1 minute or one sentence rather of him trying to eulogize Charlie Kirk seriously, because that right there is the real Nick Fuentes. The quartering jumped in. He says, a serious question. Let's assume the texts are real and that Charlie was 100% serious and not just being sarcastic, which is totally possible. What exactly does this prove? Think before you reply. What does it prove other than someone close to him was fine leaking his texts? That's been their new talking point. How dare you leak text messages? And finally, this is just funny, so we're going to show you this. Community notes for the win. The Misfit Patriot writes, I will give Candace every single shekel Israel has paid me for my posts if she can prove those text messages are real. Update, says Community Notes. Andrew Kolvet confirmed the screen grab was real. Of course it was real. But I mean, I would have to be the dumbest person ever. First off, I'm not even inclined towards tech, but also would have to be an absolute idiot, a moron, to try to figure out how to manufacture text messages for the purpose of releasing them to then probably get sued by every person that was not in the chat. Like, I'm just like, hey, Josh Hammer received this message. That'd be so dumb. But like I said, these people were desperate for it not to be real because they've been lying so hard about everything. They've just been lying, and they have some egg on their face now.
Lying about what, though?
This morning.
Why are they lying, though, Candace? Lying about what? See, you're saying that they're lying. You actually haven't told them what they're lying about. Maybe they don't want to put the text message out there. I bet you Candace is not running out here uploading her phone to the interweb so that we all can see every message that she gets, every phone call that she receives, every picture. I'm sure of that. So what are they lying about, Mrs. Farmer? What is it, Candace-spiracy? That's all.
When Andrew Kolvet, Turning Point's spokesperson, confirmed that the messages were in fact real. He did this on the Charlie Kirk show. And actually, I don't think it's dramatic to state that this may be the first respectable measure taken by Turning Point USA executives since the passing of Charlie Kirk, like the first respectable response. And yeah, I thought that was, I will compliment that. Just the action of Andrew Kolvet addressing it head on instantly was good. So let's hear Andrew Kolvet in his own words.
But I want to take the start of the show to address some of the things that have been going around on public, namely about a group text chain that has been made known and released by Candace Owens. And I just want to address it head on because, that was a text grab, a screen grab that I had shared with people. So it is authentic. And I want to go into it because I actually am really excited that the truth is out there. I first want to say the reason I didn't share that screen grab publicly is because it was a private exchange, and I felt like it didn't necessarily comport with things that were already public. I wanted to not betray my friends' trust in that way. But I did share it with some people in government because it happened really quick. It was, it took 33 hours for authorities to get their suspect. And in those first moments, we wanted no stone unturned. We wanted to leave nothing unturned. So I shared it with a few people. Don't know where it went from there, apparently. But here we are. So one of the reasons, Blake, that I'm glad to have this now public, it was not mine to share publicly, but one of the criticisms we've received is that we don't care. We're not investigating every lead. We're not looking under every stone, and that somehow we're just like, sweeping things under the rug. And when I say that we want justice for Charlie more than anybody else, I really mean it, and no stone unturned. I mean, I don't know if you want to chime in on that part alone, but I have more to say.
Yeah, so it has been so frustrating to have people blow up about this.
Yeah.
And I've certainly stated publicly, the reason I haven't weighed in on things is I am an eyewitness to events, and they've said, don't comment on things because anything you say can mess that up. I don't want to mess up any trial for the person who did this.
That's 1,000% right. And I will say I wasn't an eyewitness. I was not there. I flew to Utah immediately to be with the family and the team, but I was not an eyewitness. So there's that. But I am aware that in my role as spokesman for Turning Point USA, which is another hat I wear, the things I say, I'm cognizant of the fact that things I say could negatively impact an ongoing investigation. All right. But I will weigh in specifically on this issue of Israel because I know there's a lot of fascination. And I just want to say that, we have to let free speech be our North Star here. Okay. Charlie was adamantly free speech. And I am not personally going to impugn anybody's character who is asking questions and looking for answers. All right. And I will say that text chain is consistent with public frustrations that he voiced many times. And I know, Blake, you were in the trenches on a lot of this stuff because we were workshopping how we were going to do the tour and what he's going to get asked about Israel, what was he going to say. And this is consistent with things that he told his friends, people that are, in the wider movement about his wrestle that he was going. And so I just want to say, what is the truth about the way Charlie felt about Israel? Well, it's complicated and it's nuanced, and it was a wrestle that was going on for months, and it's probably somewhere between the BB letter and the text.
So what do we think? Okay, obviously, you can tell he's anxious. You can tell he's nervous speaking about this. I am sure it was positively frantic at Turning Point USA yesterday. I am sure he had very little sleep. And like I say, never the fun thing to be the spokesperson and also to be involved in the story. I can tell you right off the bat, he is telling the truth. He was not the person who shared that message with me. He also should know that he was not the only person who sent that message and sent messages around. So there are a lot circulating, some videos that are circulating. And he's being honest about that portion. I personally, as someone who knows Andrew Kolvet, I want to express how I feel. I hold it against him, actually, that he didn't share it with me. He knew I cried on the phone with Andrew. He knew how I was feeling. And then I went under a very, well, you could say a blitzkrieg, right? A heavy bombardment from people who he knows hated Charlie, who tried to stop Charlie, people who had no issues showing up to his memorial. I mean, really gross stuff, who were attacking me. And he could have at least provided some cover. Now, I'm not saying that I need help, but sometimes it's nice to offer somebody a lifeboat when they're being attacked for telling the truth, right? So I do want to say that. Also, I'm glad that Andrew responded correctly because I was going to say this when Blake's like, well, the investigation's ongoing. That text message has nothing to do with an investigation whatsoever. It has to do with the broader question of people feeling that Charlie's legacy is intentionally being hijacked by Israel.
Who in the world is saying that, though? That's the question. That's the $20 question, the $50, the $2 million question. Who is saying that Charlie's legacy is being hijacked by Israel? That's what, because again, otherwise there's nothing that we need to be talking about pertaining to his murder and Israel. Again, that just sounds so silly. What? Who is saying that? If you're saying that in the chat, let me know. And stop it.
That Israel killed Charlie. Anybody that's been watching this investigative series, we've come up, there hasn't even been an Israeli name that's popped up in this investigation. There's only been one Jewish person, I think, that's popped up thus far in this investigation, which is George Zinn, decoy boy.
No, you said BB's name. See, Candace can't be taken seriously, y'all. I thought she was serious. You can't take her seriously. I'm sorry. No, you've said BB's name. You've said several Jewish people's names, so don't say that. Please. Now, if you're saying related directly to the murder, maybe I'll give you a little pass. But you've alluded to a ton of people. Get out of here with that foolishness.
So they're just saying that. They're just saying that. I just wanted to say that he was under a tremendous amount of pressure. Now, regarding the other things that are circulating that have not been publicized yet, and people should know that there is an underground movement of truth tellers in this moment. Okay, there's an underground movement of knights all around the world, from mom sleuths to government employees, like he said, to personal assistants, to Turning Point USA donors, who are working together to bring justice to Charlie because we don't like the way this feels. We just like the way it feels. The vibes are off. I will respect, even though obviously that statement was prepared, I will respect the fact that Andrew says what Charlie would have said. And for the first time, I feel that's been expressed, that we have to let free speech be our North Star. And I'm not so sure that some of the people that are donating to Turning Point USA believe that. In fact, I'm certain some of them don't believe that. Obviously, we wouldn't have that text message if they all believed that. And that is what I think has been so frustrating, is that it seems as though the executives would rather, and I'm now referring to Tyler Boyer, impugn the character of the people who are doing exactly what Charlie Kirk would have done. So please, Andrew, make sure that Tyler Boyer and Alex Clark get the internal memo about free speech. I want to say one more thing rather explosively. 3 people told me off record. 2 people who have this in a written communication from Charlie. One who is a Turning Point USA donor, and I would say very much one of the white knights in this. The very day before Charlie Kirk died, he expressed that he thought he was going to be killed. He told these people, I think they're going to kill me. Okay. He did not express that to me. So I'm telling you this based off the testimony of 3 people. And I'm saying this because I hope that these people who I think are good will be inspired to come forward with that. Again, those conversations I had were off record. I honor that. If I say it's off record, it stays off record. But I'm hoping that watching what I am doing and feeling the energy that is rising across the world for people who want to know what the heck happened on 9/10, that, they will be brave and they will say, yeah, Charlie did the day before he died think that he was going to be killed, and maybe tell us, who is they? Well, for once and for all, who is they? Who is the they that he thought were going to kill him? Now, to give the obvious answer to federal informant Nick Fuentes' question, the reason that I waited to reveal the text messages is because I'm not a child, okay? Like I said, I have a lot more. I'm not an idiot, and I have self-control, and I understand that time is always going to be on the side of truth. Time is on the side of truth. Liars know that that's the reality. Liars know that they have to speak quickly, that they have to speak repeatedly, and I wanted the world to truly understand just exactly what it is that we are up against, okay? People that I deem to be mentally and spiritually evil, okay? Evil in the true essence of the word evil. People who knowingly lied, instantly lied, repeatedly lied, and continued to do so without a trace of shame, okay? Without a trace of shame.
I'm getting tired of this finger wagging thing, like she's chastising people. Okay, maybe I'm coming from a different universe. Y'all, I'm sorry. I'm a time traveler. And I'm coming from a different universe because I've watched Candace jump herself out here and say some of the most reckless stuff as quickly as she could, be the first one to say, she's the first one to assume that Israel killed him. The very first one. The first one to insinuate that Israel killed him. The first one to insinuate that TPUSA had anything to do with it whatsoever. To impugn, y'all, let me get back on my spaceship. I'm going to go back to the multiverse of I can't believe this. I mean, she's the first one to do this. Like, I can't understand this. This is craziness. This is madness.
I mean that, right? I really do mean it when I say that you have to be someone that is, or maybe rather someone that is possessed by something that is less than human, subhuman, to do that. There's no humanity in you. That is why I named Josh Hammer. I believe he is a deeply disturbed man. Think about that. Now that you have those messages, okay, let's put this in context. Just a few hours before I dropped that text chain, Josh Hammer was concerning himself with what he's been doing since Charlie caught the bullet in his neck. He has been spreading lies, saying that Charlie never flinched on Israel, right? Charlie never flinched. Oh, my God, these people like Candace, they're lying. 48 hours before Josh Hammer was on that text thread. And that did not stop him from keeping up the propagandist effort when he went on a show yesterday.
So let me just make sure I got this right, just for real quick. You have to make all of this noise to convince people that Charlie Kirk was turning against Israel because Charlie Kirk's reputation, Charlie Kirk's body of work says something different. So you have to come up with all these late in the midnight hour. Charlie Kirk was going to change his viewpoint on Israel, blah, 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 blah. And because of that, because his body of work said one thing and you are saying and interpreting his text message and a couple other things to mean something different, somebody put his head to bed, but you speak recklessly on a regular basis. Your body of work is extremely anti-Israel, and they leave you alone. Okie dokie. That makes sense now that I said it. That makes perfect sense now that I said it out loud. I totally get it now. Totally get it. Totes.
Today, before I dropped the messages and said this.
Charlie was a close friend of mine, as you know. We actually spoke literally the night before his tragic and untimely death. I was on a small Zoom call with him and a couple others. We were literally talking through this topic. I was giving Charlie advice for how to message on this issue on his forthcoming campus tour. You know, he kind of jokingly mentioned to me, he was like, Josh, I'm going to mention your book, Israel and Civilization, and it's so good. And that was literally our last conversation. It's just so tragic. This letter that he wrote to the Prime Minister, Chris, I read back in June or July or so. And there were so many people in the aftermath of his horrific assassination, Candace, Owens, folks like that, who were saying that, oh, Charlie was turning on Israel. He was ready to sell them out and renounce his life's work of sincere and genuine friendship with the Jewish people and the Jewish state. But this letter that he wrote to Bibi Netanyahu, Chris, literally begins. The first sentence of the letter is, I'm paraphrasing here, but it's a close paraphrase. As a Christian, one of my greatest joys in life is making friendships with the Jewish people and defending the state of Israel. That's literally the opening sentence of this letter.
Filth. Okay? Absolute filth. I don't understand it. I can't comprehend it. Whatever that is that lives in him does not live in me. There's no truth in him. Obviously, there's no truth in Josh Hammer. He could have said, well, Charlie was going through 48 hours earlier. Yeah, he refused to do that. And in fact, I'm quite alarmed with what I know, that there are 3 people who said that Charlie communicated 24 hours before he died, that he thought they were going to kill him. Now I find it rather alarming that Josh Hammer is similarly saying, oh, the night before. So you spoke to him the night before. Did he communicate that to you, Josh Hammer? Did he? I'm interested. I know we won't get answers from you, but let me promise you that if I get a text message to the effect that you were somehow involved in him feeling anxiety the day before, if you did something that gave him anxiety in that way, I will release it instantly. There will be no place that you can hide. Anyways, I want you guys to know that I was feeling so inspired by Josh Hammer's utter lack of human decency that I went ahead this week and sent around a life insurance policy of sorts, a package rather, to people that I trust, a package filled with text messages, emails, private communications, videos, and private legal documents. So if anything happens to me, you guys will know exactly who it is that has been making my life a living hell over the past couple of years. People that are trying to bankrupt me, trying to bankrupt me and my family, that are threatening us, to sue us. Everything that Kanye said was so real, okay? I'm now at that point where you look back and you go, man, Kanye was right. He was really saying something about what it takes to leave, to fight for custody of your own soul. Just leave me alone. Let me say what I believe and you say what you believe. Fight fair. Why do you always have to make this threat to bankrupt people? And I want you to know that those people, if anything happens to me, they have my explicit permission to release it all, detonate it all, expose all of these people in politics and in the movement who behave like this behind the scenes. It's necessary. And I highly recommend every single person that's out there that has a platform and is going through things and scared, do the same. Send everything around to about 8 people that you trust. And I mean, I've ranged it. I sent it to journalists, text messages and screenshots to people ranging from Max Blumenthal to Andrew Tate. They won't know where it's coming from. It will be everywhere. I want to remind you guys in the wake of all of this that it is so important to keep trusting our guts. We have been proven right so many times in the recent past, right? Whether we're speaking about COVID, people that had to actually take a stance before people were then suddenly government admits, oh yeah, we were lying about this, we were lying about that. We feel it all right now. The feds are lying. That is beyond obvious, which is why I was very happy to hear former Navy SEAL Rob O'Neill explain this plainly when he went on Piers Morgan's show the other day. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
I mean, it was off right from the beginning for me. Do we not guard rooftops anymore? There's been assassination attempts all over the world. Right. Why aren't we looking at rooftops? And then when I was sent the video with this at the same message where they said Charlie Kirk was just shot. When I watched that horrific video, he was obviously dead before he hit the ground. But the questions immediately started to come to me. That was not an entry wound that we saw. We saw an exit wound. So where'd that bullet come from? You don't bleed like, and I've shot guys closer than the camera was. And an entry wound doesn't look like that. An exit wound does. Why did his shirt move the way it did? When I've shot people, their shirts didn't move like that. And then the initial reaction was, well, he was obviously wearing body armor and it was deflection. One, no, he wasn't wearing body armor. And two, it doesn't deflect like that off of body armor. Why was his shirt moving from right to left? Why were people being interviewed saying, yeah, they came from my left to right, from his right to left, immediately shut down? And then did they tear the crime scene down immediately? Just right off the bat, from seeing it, knowing he was dead, saying a lot of this is bad. Not even getting into the soliloquy of text messages that 22-year-olds don't send their trans lover. So immediately, the official story sounds like it needs to be investigated. But now, the whole crime scene's gone. They paved over it. Nothing to see here.
You just have to laugh. The soliloquy of the text messages that 22-year-olds do not send their lovers. Yes, that's kind of the main point, guys. We have been working off a lot of tips, and so much more is going to be exposed, and we're going to get into that more tomorrow. I do want to give you a quick update on Lance Twiggs. And like I said, we know that the feds are lying to us. The question is, why are the feds lying to us? The answer is always the same. The feds only lie to cover their own tracks. They are protecting themselves and their bosses. Who are their bosses? Who is they? Anyways, take a little bit of a break here because I want to read some sponsors. First and foremost, Riverbend Ranch. I tell you guys about them all the time.
Okay, so shout out to everybody. Thank you so much for jumping into the most electrifying live chat on the interweb. Thank you so much. Look, speaking of sponsors, man, y'all been blessing this. Y'all been blessing the team today. All right, let's get this going. Let's get it going. Here, I'm going to pause that and jump over here like this. Shout out to everybody's in the best chat. Alex says, Candace is getting high on her own supply. And that's what NWA told us. Don't do that. Don't get high on your own supply. Can beast things cause schizophrenia? What on earth? Yeah, that story about the premonition and the baby telling her that he was coming. Yo. And a lot of people jumped on my case. Thank you so much, MT. A lot of people jumped on my case when I did during the Macron story. I did a video about how Candace consulted a medium. And people wanted to get, and all the candies was getting in their feelings. No, she didn't consult a medium, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, she did. Like, really, she did. And they did not want to believe that. And then she's saying some stuff like this, and I guarantee you they'll argue that she didn't say it or whatever like that. That's some crazy work. Let's keep this going. Derek, what'd you say? Derek dropping the $5 super says this. That is heresy. No Christian believes in pre-existence of souls before conception. That is a heretical Mormon belief. And I didn't even see that coming. There you go. That's it. Like, she be saying some stuff. Candace be letting you know where she be coming from. Thank you so much for the $5 super. $9.99 up in here. Thank you, 37 this. Candace is now taking messages from the dead, which is forbidden. Can we stop right there? Full stop? Okay. It's a familiar spirit, but she clearly has no understanding of that. Familiar spirits take on the form of your own loved ones to deceive. Absolutely. Or it could be her own premonition. I mean, how many times have you been worried about something and you dream about said something because you've been thinking about it all the time, or excited about something too? Anyway, like, come on. Thank you so much for that. What does James say right here? Candace, the sixth sense. I see Jew people. I got to put you in 0-second timeout again, James. You got put in 0-second timeout yesterday, my dude. The goal is not to be put in timeout every day. James, dude, that's so funny. And I will not. I'm going to tell you right now, nobody better email me a picture of Candace Owens in that movie Sixth Sense saying, I see Jew people. Don't you dare send me that to dearwokec@gmail.com. Don't you dare do it. Don't do it. Don't send that to me. Don't send it. I don't want it sent to me to dearwokec@gmail.com. Thank you so much. MT again says this. You're still this. You're still that. No one is saying this stuff. You're a paranoid schizophrenic. You can't recognize Brits being sarcastic. I don't get it. Like, I don't understand why that is a hard thing for her to understand. I don't think she wants to understand it. Let me say it another way. I think, again, she wants to understand it in the most negative sense possible. That's what I'm understanding. Alex, thank you again. Every civilization, every one of them, not some of them, but every one of them that descends into conceptual anti-Semitism eventually collapses. It's a sign that your country is in deep, deep, deep trouble. Absolutely. And I agree. I believe It's more sexual immorality. If you read the book, The City of God, where Augustine is arguing about why Rome fell. And I believe once you get to the sexual immorality and perversion, that's ultimately it. But I do believe ultimately it's a turning our backs on God. So I'm right there with you. Thank you so much for that. Let's keep it going. What is this? At least, MT says, learn how to pronounce it. It's Craig, not Cree teleprompter Tabitha. When Ben Shapiro called her a faux sophisticate, he was right. I mean, that's why you don't see her rocking with Ben. I think she's almost done with this ad read, so I'm going to put this back on the screen so we can keep up just in case. But thank you so much. And nobody better send me that picture. I'm telling you, I will not accept it. dearwolfc@gmail.com. All right, keep it going. MT again. Where is the reaction episode to BB's letter? Well, there's no reaction because it was right. Literally being sued by the Macrons for just that. Thank you so much, MT. You're right. Like, she's ignoring the fact that, ma'am, you're in a lawsuit because of this. Like, you're literally in a lawsuit because of this behavior. What are we doing? What are we doing? For real. And then another thank you again, MT. Man, you are the stream sponsor. I appreciate you. Man, you know what? I got those sound effects. We're going to give you that sound effect, my brother. Thank you so much, MT. I might have to do it. Hold on. Let me get that. There it is. All right. Let's get Candace back up in here and see what she got to say. Maybe she'll salvage today. Maybe she'll salvage it and get us an end on a good note. What you think? Anybody got hope on that? I don't. Let's go.
Investigation of Charlie Kirk's murder. I don't think the majority of people in the world feel that we know what happened. And I want you guys to know that we have not for a single second ceased our investigation, right? What actually happened on 9/10, we don't know. And we are still working through a ton of the tips related to what happened. But I want to tell you that I actually believe that this was a military hit that involved foreign actors and also literal actors. I believe that day ran something akin to JFK's assassination. I believe that there were therefore multiple decoys on the ground. I do not believe, just so I'm clear here, that the person who was walking up the stairs killed Charlie. In fact, my suspicion is that photo was not even shot on the same day. I do not believe that the person who ran across Losey rooftop killed Charlie. I think it was another decoy. I do not believe that shot came from a Losey Center at all. And we all know that decoy George Zinn didn't kill Charlie. And I received an interesting tip about him as well, that he's much more connected than what meets the surface. He potentially has connections to the federal department, familial connections to the federal department, and we are prodding that. It's getting interesting. Anyway, that would suggest that there are thus a total of 4 decoys, like George Zinn, staircase guy, maroon shirt guy, and Losey Center guy, none of which I believe actually pulled the trigger. Call it a hunch. I think it's much more likely that Lance Twiggs is the one that is walking in that maroon shirt. His build is nothing like Tyler Robinson's build. Lance Twiggs is thinner. And obviously I'm speculating here, but I believe Tyler Robinson was involved, and he was in fact driving around campus on that day, therefore assisting in the costume changes, likely picking up clothing. And as we broke the story, Tyler was seen at Dairy Queen. And what was he seen doing, as I told you? Dumping clothing in the cemetery beside that Dairy Queen. So I think that is what his involvement is limited to. That was his job, to get rid of clothing. It's completely a nonsense to think that a person who had never killed anyone was high on adrenaline after a kill and decided to eat Dairy Queen. That doesn't even make sense biologically speaking. There was going to be an adrenaline measure that kicks in after you kill animal, let alone a person, let alone having it be your first kill. And you're like, he just decided to go to DQ, sit down, write some poetic text messages. It's why they're freaking out about that Dairy Queen leak, because it disrupts their narrative. One of many things that disrupts their narrative. But what about Lance Twiggs, right? This roommate, man, something about him. The roommate of Tyler Robinson is, I think, federally protected. I especially think that because we learned some more interesting facts about him. So I feel confident, or I shouldn't say completely confident, but I feel like it's okay to venture a guess that he is a federal asset of some description. Could be related to his online work on Discord chats. It's the only thing that makes sense to me. Anyways, I can tell you guys, I can break this for you, that the government and this would implicate Governor Cox and whoever else was a part of that press conference the morning after, the 33 hours after they apprehended Tyler Robinson. The government lied when they said, Lance, I'm obviously paraphrasing here, he came in peacefully, he handed over everything. I mean, the whole depiction was like he was just so shocked that his boyfriend could do something like this. And so he handed over everything. Well, according to his family, that's just not true. According to his family, he was raided and he was angry about that raid. And yet he was instantly released back into their care within 6 hours. Isn't that something? They had no idea what was happening. They were going off of Mike, the mysterious detective, Mike Mitchell's tip. They had no confession. They have Tyler Robinson walking in peacefully because he doesn't want to die. And you're telling me Lance Twiggs, for whatever reason, you released him immediately back into custody? No, they lied. He was not being compliant and walking in and showing them everything. Something else that was interesting, we had told you guys that Tyler's family thought that there could have been something weird going on with that raid, that perhaps the feds could have been staging that apartment to fit into their narrative. Now, the feds are staging this entire operation, so that would follow that if you're trying to get a conviction, you got to be like, and we found this in his house, the note underneath the keyboard. So convenient, but he destroyed it. He took a picture of it, but then he destroyed it. Because everybody knows if you want to destroy something so it never sees the light of day, you take a picture of it so it lives forever in the iCloud. Anyways, we were told by Lance's family that, who, by the way, own the apartment that the two of them lived in, that Tyler and Lance lived in, we were told that somebody illegally changed their locks on the home following the raid. Obviously illegal. They were not informed that the locks were being changed. So it gives us two options. It was either Lance or it was the feds. I was wondering, if you're Lance and you really got swept up in this and you're so shocked that Tyler Robinson did this, are you speaking to your family about that? My gosh, I imagine you'd want to speak to your family. No, it seems Lance has similarly been in an unknown location since the raid. I would imagine he was in witness protection for a bit, but he doesn't need family. He feels, I would say, that suggests that he's pretty arrogant right now in this moment. He's not fearful of anything. Like I said, the sense I am getting is we are watching a play, right? The government has us completely distracted with photos of people who are not even the same person. I never for a second thought the person that was in the maroon shirt was the same as the person that was walking with the limp. It's completely foolish and ridiculous. I can also tell you something else. We received a tip, which I vetted, that on the day of Charlie Kirk's assassination, immediately George Zinn gets up and says, I did it, and he kind of gets dragged. Well, apparently George Zinn had to receive medical treatment following that, little fracas. And he told multiple nurses and doctors that he did it because he was being paid to do it. He said he had not been paid yet, but he was going to receive payment. He didn't know from who. That's interesting. Decoy Boy told medical staff, apparently he was just singing, just telling everybody who would listen that he did it because payment was going to be promised to him if he did do it. What does that tell us? We should definitely dig into George Zinn. We should definitely try to confirm this relatively strong tip that he has connections to the feds, because it would be very interesting if the feds were going to pay George Zinn. I'm not saying they are, but yeah, why wouldn't he know? I mean, make that make sense. Why wouldn't George Zinn know where the payment was coming from? Yeah. Anyways, you guys, we are on the case. I wanted to share that with you. Some other explosive things that we have found out that the feds have not shared. Other people that they were questioning.
Why? I mean, look. By no means am I trying to say that I buy the full breadth of everything that we've been told by the feds. I do think that Tyler Robinson did it. I do think so. Now, am I in lockstep with that? I don't have to be. No. Can I be swayed by evidence to believe something different? Absolutely. And I think most rational people would be. I don't need to dig into all of these conspiracies, because what ends up happening is conspiracies end up breeding distrust for everything. Everything becomes subject to, well, we don't really know. And that's going to end up being what happens here. Now, I don't know if Candace is really thinking about this. I don't know if her intent is to get him off, get Tyler, cast so much reasonable doubt, so many nuggets of maybe possible woulda, shoulda, couldas out there that you just can't get a jury to believe anything. I don't know if that's what she's trying to do. But if in fact, I would love to know, okay, fine. What is your goal for your quote unquote investigation? What's going to actually happen? Because none of the Candies have been able to tell me which one of Candace's investigations that she's done has actually led to somebody going to jail or some long-term outcome. Which one? Which one? George Floyd is still the patron saint of the hood. Kamala Harris still running around here with a fifth of gin. Black Lives Matters is exactly what we thought it was. She hasn't told us anything brand new. So what investigation is she? Harvey Weinstein still in jail. The Macrons still breathing down her neck. Like, what investigation has she actually done that's netted and changed? Somebody's in jail. Somebody's arrested. Policies have been changed. Are there any? So why are we, what is this? What's the goal of this? Besides just casting doubt, questioning what we know, questioning. And again, I'm not saying the governments, the feds don't lie. I'm not saying that. So don't hear what I didn't say. What I am saying is, however, where's this going? Is Candace going to go arrest somebody? Are they going to say, you're right. You're right. Tyler is not the person. It's Johnny Military Person over here, Beekeeper 109, or whomever, Michelangelo from the Ninja Turtles. Like, what's going to be the outcome? Let me finish this up.
Did not share people that similarly have been told to be quiet about everything. And let's be clear, they are not asking everyone to be silent because they are seeking a conviction against Tyler Robinson. They are telling everybody to be silent because they don't want to get caught. The feds are covering their own tracks. All right, guys, I'm going to pivot here, and I want to read you something. Oh, now, I want to be perfectly clear that despite all appearances over the last 2 weeks, it has been a very difficult time for me. Obviously, normally when I'm covering a story, I'm bombastic and I feel brave and focused because I am speaking about someone that has nothing to do with me. This has been particularly challenging because I had, and I still am, very much grieving Charlie and waking up to the realization that not everyone is grieving him in the same way, that he may have just been a political pawn to so many people that he loved deeply. I mean,
Does anybody else notice that, and I could be wrong, so this is one of those moments where the Candies, I really need you to chime in. So come on up here to the front of the church. Any of the Candies, you're welcome to come up here to the front of the church. I noticed yesterday and today, she's made a lot of hay about telling you that she's grieving. She said she stayed in the bed crying and she was not even a good mom. She was grieving so much. Now today she's talking about she's grieving. And I don't remember, and I could be wrong. So I admit, I don't know everything. But has she been talking about her grieving process this whole time, all this 4 weeks? Because I feel like this is something new. This is a new story arc that she's going down, that I'm a grieving best friend. That just seems really weird. And I think, I know the Candies up in front of the church, I know. And I know a lot of y'all didn't like my story that I dropped the other day about Sally, Marsha, and Peter. And it was just a story, y'all. Calm down. It was just a story. It was just a hypothesis, a possible, just a bit, as my children like to call it. But I'm just wondering, is she trying to say that I'm grieving more than his actual wife is grieving? Because I've never heard her say that she's grieving so much as she's been saying for the last 2 days. Why is she making it a big noise that she's grieving? I'm debilitating. I'm going through all my tears. I can hardly take care of my children. Why? Is it because Erica Kirk is not grieving in front of a camera? And therefore, because we don't see her grieving, we don't see her crying, we don't know what she's going through, we say, oh, Candace is more caring than Erica. Because Erica, I don't know what Erica's doing. Because it don't work. It's not real tears unless it's in 4K. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's not in 4K, then it didn't happen. You got to do it. You got to cry for the gram. You got to cry for the gram. If you ain't crying for the gram, did it really happen? If we didn't catch it in 4K, did it really happen? I don't know. We got to cry for the gram. So I'm wondering, is that why she's saying this? Because it seems like a new bit. I've never heard her do this before. But I just want to throw that out there. I'm here to cause trouble. My name's Jason.
I'm going to be honest, even Donald Trump's non-reaction, not making any demands for truth regarding this investigation deeply upsets me. It deeply upsets me because I know how much Charlie Kirk loved Donald Trump. So I was happy, it brought literal tears to my eyes when a donor from Turning Point USA, a donor that actually then unlocked a whole another level of donations for Charlie Kirk through introductions that he made for Charlie, and a donor who ironically, this is the very donor that when I said to Charlie, we need to be in the UK, we need to be in the UK, and he was like, well, I know somebody who I could maybe have set up an event, we can start Turning Point UK, and that event was when I first laid eyes on George, not when I spoke to him, but when I actually first laid eyes on him. That donor issued a public statement, and I think he will be the first of many donors that might make a public statement, and he made this statement in my favor. This was written by him and his wife, two wonderful people, John and Irina Mappin. I'm just going to read it because I think these words don't just eloquently express how I'm feeling, but I think these words eloquently might express how we are all feeling worldwide. Like, I read this and I said to myself, I couldn't have written this better myself with all the time in the world. John and Irina write, Charlie Kirk built Turning Point USA on transparency, free speech, and a relentless pursuit of truth. We are witness to that. If Candace Owens had been assassinated, Charlie would have torn apart every lie and devoted every working day and night to uncovering the full truth. He would not have trusted the authorities to deliver justice. He would have demanded it from the rooftops. Charlie would not have waited for the funeral or memorial to happen. He would have gotten to work immediately. He would have worked night and day to uncover exactly what had happened to his great friend. Consider this. Charlie did not sleep for several days and several nights just to ensure that J.D. Vance became the vice presidential nominee. And although that job was supremely important for the country and its future, it was still ultimately simply helping to secure a job promotion. Candace is working to get to the truth of who killed Charlie Kirk and why they did it. Charlie's execution is an assassination with potentially far-reaching political consequences for America and the world. What we have seen so far beggars belief. A crime scene apparently completely destroyed in days, and plenty of evidence that simply does not add up. This investigation and the truthful answer as to who was really responsible for deciding that Charlie would be executed in front of the world will affect America's future, its collective soul and conscience forever. The truth, when known, and we believe it will be known, will have far-reaching international consequences. The very idea that someone could be convicted and could receive the death penalty when there remains even the slightest shadow of doubt or a shred of uncertainty that they may not be guilty of that crime, and that Christian souls would tolerate that possibility, is anathema to all the teachings of Christ. If there were circumstances where a suspect or someone standing trial for murder did...
Hey, everybody, real quick. I found this letter. It's in Substack, and I just dropped a link in the chat if you want to check it out yourself. I did find the actual letter that the Substack that Candace is reading. So if you're interested, it's right there. I'll make sure that I put it in the description as well. Okay, just want to make sure you know that.
Not have a clean opportunity to receive the very best and fairest legal representation to present their case and defense to the world, it would have been abhorrent to Charlie Kirk. It would go against every constitutional principle that he lived, fought, and died for. Erica is in mourning. May God bless her and her family. Please give her and her family time to grieve. Any civilized culture, Christian or otherwise, allows a grieving widow 40 days of mourning to make peace with the Lord and to respect the departed. Those people who truly love her would gladly grant her all the space she needs. We certainly do. But we are growing rather sick and ashamed of seeing people criticize Candace for doing her level best to get to the bottom of and to the truth of what happened to Charlie on that day. You don't have to agree with Candace on every subject that she addresses on her shows to acknowledge that much of what she is presenting on the subject of Charlie's death is extremely concerning to America and to the world, completely valid and very relevant to the investigation. She has an army of truth seekers worldwide who are helping her in her search and her research. This is a truly new and modern phenomenon that has never happened before. This is not 1963, and boomers need to get used to it. In our view, the official investigation should be immediately ordered by the appropriate legal authority to proactively share everything they know with Candace and her selected team. That is, if truth and real understanding of who decided to assassinate Charlie and why is the sincere objective. That would go some way towards restoring public trust in the system. It is our view that her actions are not just the actions that any real friend would take for their friend. They are the actions of the highest order of patriotism. Candace's actions are service to the whole country and to the world. Beyond that, they are truly providential, divinely inspired, and metaphysical. There is a relationship between truth and all living things. There is a relationship between truth and God. Right now, Turning Point USA is at a vital moment. If we continue to witness the mistreatment and the suppression of a young woman and a mother of 4 young children who is doing everything she can to help get to the truth about who decided that her friend and fellow freedom fighter Charlie had to die, they will lose the country and the world. And America will have lost one of its greatest living patriots only to see those factors against which he fought and died for win. Candace's extremely valid point that hers has so far been one of the only public voices from Charlie's closest friends questioning the absurdity of some of the communications regarding what happened and demanding clarity is well made. And frankly, that point alone is shocking to the world. We have been receiving calls from senior Republicans and from Turning Point donors who agree with her all last week, and they started up again this week. They agree with Candace, but seeing the attacks that she is experiencing, they are terrified to voice their views publicly. Is that really where we are in 2025? Few people following the matter believe the official version. A low minority believe that the current suspect is guilty. That statistic alone is an awful commentary on the state of the official investigation. The world wants truth. The world, Charlie, and those who truly loved him and knew his purposes certainly deserve justice. But justice needs not just to be done. It needs to be seen to be done justly. I want to read that sentence again because it's very powerful. Justice needs not just to be done. It needs to be seen to be done justly. It must be truthful, it must be fair, and it must be clean. If there are videos, show them. If there is evidence, show it. The world is not going to accept anything less. This is not about who is right or wrong or whose theory is correct. Candace's investigation is about actually getting to the truth, whatever that truth is. If the current theory for the shooter is truth, then okay. If that is a lie, then we need to know. Every episode of Candace's show since Charlie died, or her heartfelt emotional tribute to her exceptional journalism has been incredible, and anyone who cares for the truth and who wants to know who killed Charlie for real should watch every episode in its sequence. The fact is that we are being told as his friends, or simply as people who had never heard of Charlie Kirk before his assassination, simply does not make sense to the vast majority. It feels like gaslighting. It feels like we are being lied to. It is not hard to tell the truth to the public or to present the clear facts that illustrate the truth clearly. Many extremely ethical people helped to build Turning Point and all associated groups, Turning Point Action and Turning Point Faith. Many of these people are existing and potential future donors. We know many of them. Ethical people will not stand for lies or injustice, either privately or publicly. The existing and future donors who were friends of Charlie's and those he loved deserve no less. But please spare us the absurd and evil suppression of suggesting that Candace should not be doing exactly what she is doing. She is doing no more and no less than what her friend Charlie would have done for her. Her actions are far more reasonable and experienceable than an assassin's bullet to the throat. Consider for a moment the evil of possibly allowing the conviction of a potentially innocent party with the death penalty. We can only begin to imagine the wrath of God and how upset Charlie will be if an innocent man were to be executed for his assassination, and what ill fortune would befall a Christian country and the individuals that would allow this. In this sense, Christianity and a leading Christian democracy are now on trial. There's a special place in eternity reserved for those who would allow such an injustice. The Turning Point and Charlie left in charge. A Turning Point and those who Charlie left in charge failed to stay true to the principles and purposes on which Charlie founded it, and with which he and Candace originally breathed life into it during its formative years. Then Turning Point will end up like MySpace. It will become just one more ineffective and rather dull has-been activity. I believe that God has other plans for Charlie and for his legacy. A cover-up of the truth is not, in my view, part of God's plans. I believe that people of goodwill from all over the world will ensure that. Keep going, Candace. Charlie is walking with you every step of the way. He loves you deeply, and you are right about your friendship with him. Never at any time, through all the challenges that the political arena and life brought, did he ever withdraw his friendship from you, Candace. You are an eternal cornerstone in his life and his legacy. What a great friend you are being to him. You're all witness to that. All of our love, John and Arena. Oh, it's gonna make me cry again. It's just like, I really needed it. I don't know. I just really needed it. Like, it's just, I feel like I kind of went through a process where I was going, like in those 2 weeks following, was any of it real? You know, like when I expressed to you that I felt that Charlie's life was like the Truman Show. And then I know that's how you guys felt, because we were just expecting a fight. We were just expecting a fight. And instead it seems like the very things.
All right, we gotta take a breather after that. We gotta clean our palates. So I dropped the link to this. I think it's very interesting. This donor wrote this just organically. The donor wrote this Substack organically. Let me real quick. I'm not trying to say that this man is lying. I'm not trying to say this man doesn't feel this way. I just think that this is a very interesting, they called a lot of shade on BB, on the letter from BB for this kind of stuff right here. And what are you talking about, Jason? All this is about Candace. I did a search. They mentioned Erica one time in this. One time. The widow of Charlie. They mentioned Charlie in here in the chat. How many times do you think they mentioned Charlie in this letter? This is crazy. All right, so Charlie, how many times do you think, good old Charlie is mentioned in here? 3. No. It's a lot. It's more than 20. Charlie Kirk's name, Charlie, is mentioned in here 29 times. 29. And that would make sense. I mean, he's the one. He's the one that we're having this conversation about. How many times is TPUSA mentioned in here? None. They got to be wrong. Hold on. Let's try Turning Point. Turning Point is mentioned 8 times in here. Okay? Now, here's the question. How many times do you think Candace is mentioned in this? How many times do you think Candace is mentioned in here? Put it in the chat. It does sound like a character letter. She's so wonderful. A little bit less than that. A little less than 1,000. I'm sorry. I would have easily believed, you said 552. I would have easily believed it, man. 18 times. 18 times. So I'm going to ask you, this is a bonus question. How many times do you think Jesus is mentioned in here? I mean, Turning Point is a Christian organization. How many times was Jesus mentioned? And let me make sure. Let's look up Christ. How many times was Christ mentioned? Christ technically was mentioned 1 time. The other 7 times, they are mentioned Christianity or Christian. But the name Christ is only mentioned 1 time in here. That just seems interesting. And in the midst of supporting and promoting a Christian organization, you mentioned the founder, the anchor, the captain of said Christian organization only 1 time. But you mentioned Candaspiracy 18 times in this thing. That's some crazy work right there. That's just crazy. Look, Candace, whatever. I mean, I'm not saying the man doesn't care about Candace, but that's some suspect type of behavior right there. That's some sus behavior.
Things that Charlie was fighting, lies, no matter what they were, somehow were being platformed and allowed. So thank you, John. Thank you, Rena. I cried last night reading that. I almost cried on air there reading it again. I needed it. So anyways, you guys, I'm going to read a couple of more sponsors, and I want to get to all of your comments. Some explosive things that we will be revealing tomorrow. I'm really excited about everything. And also I want to add to this, thank you guys, not just John and Arena for being the first donors that took a public stance. But before they did this, it was all of you guys at home, truly. The tags fighting for me in the comments when I was being smeared, when they even tried to wipe away my friendship. Like, she hasn't spoken to him since 2015. It was you guys. Like, this letter is for you. Every time he says Candace, he means all of us. All of us do this. So anyways, tell you guys about Tax Network USA. Maybe you...
All right, let me hear. Okay, Candace, whatever. If that's what you need to make you sleep at night, then go ahead and sleep well tonight. Sleep well. Sleep well. Tabitha Lore, we're going to sleep well. She says this: thank you for the very kind $20 super. You've become my new favorite streamer. Found you last week. Thank you for helping me get through the Candaspiracy ranting. Look, thank y'all. This is a group effort, okay? The best live chat on the internet. Look, this is y'all. And it's a lot of fun. I do this because I have a good time with you all. And you all put up with me, unlike my kids and my niece that just walked in. They don't listen to me, so at least somebody wants to talk to me. But thank you so very much for that. I really appreciate it. Thank you, MT, again. From this, I've learned that the right is full of idiots. I thought I was joining a senile, the sensible side. I feel politically homeless. I'm disgusted. I'm gonna give a theory about what is the purpose of what we're watching. That's gonna be my final salvo. I'm gonna give story time with Whitaker. I'm gonna tell you why I think Candace is doing this. But let me continue. MT, thank you again for the $5 super. Beth, no one is saying Candace can't ask questions or care about what happened to Charlie. Full stop. The problem is the vitriol and venom that she is spewing. I agree. I would love for Candace to tell us, has she spent any time with the grieving widow? If you're grieving as the best friend, why are you not grieving with his wife, who should have been his best friend? I digress. Thank you, Amethyst, for the $5 super. Mrs. Farmer is digging a whole tunnel with a Caterpillar front hoe, and she's nowhere near finished. Hi ho, off to hell she goes. Wow. Thank you so much for that. And then let's keep it going. C'est moi. says this, Candace, bestest friend, grievous griever. I mean, really, like I grieve better than anybody. I'm the bestest griever. Derek says this, I have a lot of close female friends that I have known 20 plus years, but I would not be grieving so much for one of them when I have a whole wife. Come on. Thank you for the $5 super. And I'm right there with you. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what about your whole man? You got a whole husband and a whole 4 kids. Like, well, excuse me? And what is Christian mindset says here, the end point of all of this is to get people to circle back to the Roman Catholic Church, of which she is a part of. Shout out there. I'm going to finish that up. I want to talk a little bit more about that in a second. Thank you for that $5 super as well, friend. What does Lyndon say with the $5? Tyler Robinson may have killed Charlie earthly body, but Candace is killing his legacy. Wow. Good night. Good gracious. I should have read that one. That hit differently. Wow. Great call. Thank you so much for that. And Kathleen, thank you so much for the $2 super sticker as well. Then lastly, quick, Amethyst, someone pass the barf bag. Who is remembering how they replaced 2 Lyndon Blair spinning heads? Call for an exorcist, please. Look, I'm just wondering, why is it that they can call into question various things, but when other people do it, you're not allowed to do that? Like, this seems wild. Oh, this is the last one. Here it is right here. I think my job as a Christian, while I'm watching how end time events fall into place, which I think Israel has a part to play in, is to sit back, eat popcorn, and witness to as many people as I can. Shout out for that for sure. I appreciate it. Let's get done with this because Candace is going to read some comments and then she's going to shut it down. Let's go.
First comment that we have is from Jennifer. Jennifer writes, do we know anything about the security team that was supposed to keep Charlie alive? I do. I have everybody's names, the people that we couldn't identify. Jennifer continues, so many questions since the MO was out there due to Trump. Why wasn't this taken into consideration? Were drones offered and or declined? Did they do a drill run through that morning? Amir Odom, hey, what's up? Thank you. You have a great, he has a great YouTube channel, Amir Odom. He writes, before we judge Candace for thinking that there's hidden agendas, we have to admit history has given her every reason to. Absolutely, there are. This is politics is nasty business, Amir. As you know, you're a friend of someone who's in politics, Brett Cooper. Corey Henry writes, give me the Kool-Aid in a juice box, LMAO, regarding Ashton Forbes' cult comment. Yeah, it was totally crazy. I don't know what I like. Yeah, maybe we're in a cult of truth. I don't know. Like, what's it called? Maybe Christianity? I mean, like, I want to tell the truth. So there's that. Sarah D writes, keep going, Candace. Love from Australia. Thank you, Sarah. Steve writes, a major victory in defending Charlie's true legacy. We stand with you, Candace. The truth will come out. When it does, it will shake the foundations of the world. I believe it. You believe it. We all believe it. John and Arena believe it. We feel it, you know, like we're fighting and it feels there's finality to it. Like this had to happen and the demons are frantic and they're angry. And I only have a platform because I keep telling the truth. You know, if I had lied, if I had sold my soul, which many people have done, I wouldn't have earned your trust. And so, yeah, it comes at a cost. It certainly comes at a cost. The last 2 weeks have been very hard, but it also comes at an even more amazing reward. Justine Lowe writes, as soon as—
Why has it been the last 2 weeks? Charlie Kirk was deleted literally 4 weeks ago. What's been with the last 2 weeks? She's made it very clear. She wants you to know these last 14 days have been something else. What's going on with the last 2 weeks? Why does she keep saying last 2 weeks? Because she's saying it intentionally. It's not just a misstep. It's not just a misquote, mispronunciation. She means to say 2 weeks. I wonder why. Wonder what that is. Because again, she's doing it intentionally. Okay, I just want to finish that up.
Said he was betrayed. I knew it was true. My female intuition at work brought me to tears and prayed for your safety. Thank you. He was. RN Explorer writes, thank you for fighting for the truth. I believed you from the beginning. I am crying as you read that letter. I'm glad you cried on me. I was like, not twice in the same year. Am I going to be caught crying? But yeah, you are laying your life and fighting for the truth for your friend. Amy writes, most holy Theotokos, bless and protect the handmaid of God, Candace and her family. Candace, so many of us in the Orthodox Christian community are praying for you. Lord, have mercy on us all. Yep. You know, it has also been great to feel the Orthodox and the Catholic energy rising. And I want to be clear, I'm not saying that as a pot shot to other denominations, but it feels like for there's been a lot of persecution, and a lot of this for some reason has involved, as I showed you yesterday, pastors that have been a part of this, like part of spreading these lies. And it's not good. It's just not good to have pastors using the Bible to lie. It's just not okay. Maheen Siddiqui writes, I think it would.
Hold on. Hold on. Wait up one. Hold on. Let me see something. Hold on. Wait. Hold on. Real quick.
What?
Hold on, ma'am. You sat there and said people using the Bible to lie. Can you please show me the Pope in the Bible? Can you please show me the continued ongoing virginity of Mary in the Bible? Please, ma'am. That's what I'm saying. Like, Candace puts herself in a trick bag, and ma'am, come on. Don't make me bring up your boy praying over Frosty the Snow Turd again. Don't make me do that. Come on, like, man. I'm trying to take Candace seriously, but man, she makes it almost impossible to take her seriously. Like, hold on. You saying that pastors are lying using the Bible, but this is okay? This is all right. Okay. My man getting frostbite, trying to bless an ice cube. Okay. All right. There we go. All right. Let's finish this up. I'm done.
Would be interesting to do a deep dive into how the term Judeo-Christian came about. I'm aware of it. It seems to be a very convenient word for Israel. I don't think any of the core values or their views on Jesus are shared. It definitively is not. And, we
are Catholics.
We're all in public schools. We all thought the same thing. I was working for Zionist entities. So I don't fault us, our ignorance. That is how the deception is thick, and we're finally piercing through that layer for the first time. Will Wallace writes, Decoy Boy, please reach out to Candace's people for the tea. Gang is inquiring. We feel like we know, but we don't know, right? I agree. Elda MJ writes, rooting for you from Malaysia and praying for your safety. You are so brave. Thank you. Donna writes, I'm not crying. You're crying. Candace, you were crying. I felt the Holy Spirit in every word that you pressed today. Godspeed. And may he bless you eternally for what you are doing, the potential sacrifice of your life and those around you. Yeah, I think we have to be brave. And I'm a real Christian. I know this life is not it. I know it's not it. And in fact,
That's
people
interesting.
I know have intentionally been trying to convince us that this is it so that they can further commit you to their matrix. To get you to agree to sell your soul, to get you to agree to lie because you're so worried about things that are in this world. I know that Charlie's soul was removed from his body, and I know that he's watching, and I keep that in mind. When it gets hard, I keep in mind that Charlie is watching, and I feel that he's with me, and he's proud that somebody who cared about him is fighting. Boredom took over, right? You are my spirit animal and have given me the motivation to push forward on my dream. Charlie is so proud of you, love. Please don't give up on us, and these fakes should be scared. You are the storm. Thank you. We are the storm, because I'm telling you, I could not do it without you guys and my family. They've just been amazing. Luna writes, Charlie also told Dr. Frank Turk right before his death when they were having a convo about upping his security that Charlie knows, quote unquote, they want him dead. Frank shared this on his podcast following Charlie's death. That makes 4. Yeah, he knew he was going to be killed. Who did he think was going to kill him?
I got to find out what Frank said about that.
And I'm glad to hear that Frank Turk shared that. Linda writes, girl, you made me cry. God bless you. I'm praying for you. Ave Maria. Thank you. John and Arena made me cry, so it's really their fault. If you want to be angry at anybody, you can be angry at John and Arena for writing that. It just, I felt the Holy Spirit in those words. I really did. It's how we're all feeling. Turtle Mama writes, I enjoy listening to your content and I feel so at peace with the information that you share as truth. Sending prayers from Mississippi and stay safe. Thank you so much, Turtle Mama. We're all actually doing this thing. So thank you guys for supporting me on this journey. Thank you for all of you guys that have signed up at CandaceOwens.com, bought yourself a hat, a t-shirt, joined our CIA to decentralize, which is more of a threat, by the way. If it's centralized, you can just whack it. If it's decentralized.
Okay, so she's just going to yammer about merch, which I think is crazy work. I'm just going to leave that alone. I just think that's crazy work. This is such an interesting approach. And I'm going to...
send it to people on the left, send it to people on the right. I love that people on the left and right are finally coming together. Can I say that as well? Gosh, we are over time for the book club. Hopefully people are on this so they know why we're late to the book club, which we have tonight as we begin this introduction to this book, which they will not reprint, but is a must-read.
The Bible.
Sigmund Freud and the Jewish mystical tradition. So anyways, you guys, I'll see you over on CandaceOwens.com.
Yeah, let's not bother ourselves with maybe something a little bit more important to help teach that discernment so that I'm not just trusting my gut and the leftover iced coffee that I have in my cup, which, by the way, I'm a little sad there's no more in there. But no, I actually have a guide, an eternal, objective guide to drive and direct me. Yo, We have got to clean our palate. We got to, y'all. That has got to be the craziest show I've ever seen. Like, she's literally admitting that she's consorting with mediums. That's wild. That's wild. Shout out to Sheena Ray, $5. I believe the only reason she became a Catholic is because her very wealthy $250 million husband is one. There you go. Well, to be fair, she says that he wasn't practicing when they got married. And I have her testimony story. And he wasn't practicing when they got married. And once they got married, he went full on in. And she's like, well, I guess I got to follow along. So I don't think she married him because of it, but she definitely converted because she was married to him. There we go. All right, MT again with the $2. It says this. I had a feeling Search John Mappin is a QAnon. Really? John Mappin, thank you for another $2. Guys, John Mappin is a QAnon believer. Seriously. Really? See? That's what I'm saying. That was just too much gushing and mushing all over Candace like that. That was some crazy stuff. Attention, linguists. Shout out to Amethyst Angel with the $5 super, very kind of you. I think she wrote it. As an American, I work with Brits and watch British TV. The letters Candace is off. The letters Candace is off is just me. Okay. Well, I dropped it in the chat now. Y'all, I'll put it back in there. I think I still got it. Yep, I got it right here. I'm going to drop it again. Y'all check that out. It's on his Substack, which is kind of interesting to put it on Substack, but I digress. Thank you so much for that, MT, again. He said Candace is strengthening Charlie's legacy. I have no idea how that works. I have no idea. Thank you for that. Amethyst again. I need my UK folks. Incomplete sentence standing alone as a paragraph, a crime scene apparently completely destroyed in days, and plenty of evidence that simply does not seem to add up. Thank you for the $10 super. And I don't understand how he got away with that either. And I did catch that, by the way. So thank you for that. What do we got here? Tatiana with the $5 says, I'll take Candace seriously only if she donates every cent she profited since his death. See, I don't think it's going to happen. That would be a major undertaking for sure. That would be some serious changing of the ways, but I don't think it's going to happen. But I do want to say thank you again to the Christian Mindset. Exactly, Jason. Those are not the subtle digs at the true church. Yeah, she throws a lot of bows at true Christians all the time. And eventually it'll come out. Eventually it'll come clean. People on the left that cheer Charlie's death, right? Thank you for that $2 super again, MC, who's definitely the stream sponsor tonight. All right, we're going to clean our palates. We're going to listen to Joe Pags talk about journalism and why he doesn't accept Candace as a journalist. He has a long history of journalism and podcasting. He did a fantastic job. We looked at a video he did earlier last week. So now he did another one this week. And I hope he just keeps doing them because they're fantastic. So let me bring this in so we can clean our palates.
Candace Owens shows the...
Hold on 1 second. We got to get this out of the way, Jason. And then we bring this back in.
There they are. Charlie Kirk had to say it. What she's been telling us the whole time is true. Or is it? I'm going to break it down from a couple of different angles. I got this sent to me today. I don't watch Candace Owens. I don't dislike her. I think that she's great. I actually think she's very, very talented and an incredible communicator. I don't know why she's going after Turning Point USA when it's being run by Charlie Kirk's widow now, Erica. One would have to think if she and Charlie were still very close, then she and Erica would have been just as close. And had Charlie wanted her to come back, Erica Kirk would still make that happen. Why would she not want to fulfill the prophecy or the wish or the desire of her husband? So let's talk about it. This is the video from the other day where Candace Owens says she's seen a group text, and she explains what she says was in the group text. Was she telling the truth?
I'm going to challenge Turning Point USA executives to issue a very clean statement saying that I am lying if this is not true.
And again, you don't come up with something and say, I've got the information and I challenge them to prove me wrong. That's not the way journalism works. You show the receipts, you show the information you have, but let's just listen in and let's take in what she said.
About 48 hours before Charlie Kirk died, Charlie informed people at Turning Point, as well as Jewish donors and a rabbi, that he had no choice but to abandon the pro-Israel cause outright. Okay.
Okay, now she says what she says here, and my claim the other day was, okay, you said it, now show it. Today she claims she showed it. But let's go a little bit further, because she says that Charlie wanted to bring her back. She says the words, wanted to bring me back.
Charlie was done. He said it explicitly, that he refused to be bullied anymore by the Jewish donors. Can you guys answer? Did he express that? Did he also express that he wanted to bring me, Candace Owens, back?
That he wanted to bring me, Candace Owens, back. He wanted to bring me, Candace Owens, back. That means that's something he wanted to do. That's very key in what she released today.
Because he was standing up for himself. And then did he, just 48 hours later, conveniently catch a bullet to the throat before our onstage reunion?
I mean, she makes a correlation there that doesn't make any sense to me. Something about conveniently he catches a bullet before their on-stage reunion. She's making a correlation between him wanting to bring her back and her coming back and him getting a bullet, which I find to be kind of gross. So that's what she said the other day. Now today, she releases what she's calling the actual text message. She's calling it a group message. Now, there is no proof in what she showed today that it's actually a text message or a group message from a bunch of people at Turning Point USA and those connected. It could be, but it might not be. There is no proof in what she shows. But let's do this. Let's say what she's showing is real. Okay, let's go with that. What she's showing is real.
Take a look. So Charlie writes in this group chat, just lost another huge Jewish donor, $2 million a year because we won't cancel Tucker.
Keep in mind, Andrew from Turning Point USA, his executive producer, said that he had lost some big donors because he brought Tucker on. So this is not untrue, what she's saying. Again, I don't know if this is a real group text, but so far that's true.
I'm thinking of inviting Candace. Somebody writes, oh.
Whoa, wait. I'm thinking of inviting Candace? That doesn't sound to me like I want to bring Candace back. That sounds like he's thinking about inviting Candace. Then somebody else allegedly on the group chat doesn't want him to bring Candace back. But he doesn't say, I want to bring Candace back. He says, I'm thinking about inviting Candace. That doesn't mean back into TPUSA. That means to come and speak, which she did in 2024. So that wouldn't be unlikely or weird. That would be okay. But again, keep in mind, what she wanted us to believe was that he really wanted to bring her back. And then conveniently, he caught a bullet 2 days later. You see the difference between, I'm thinking about it, and I want her to, and now he's gone. That's a big leap.
Charlie writes, Jewish donors play into all of the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. And somebody writes, a donor writes, please do not invite Candace. That might feel good short term, but it's not good long term, in my opinion. Like all groups, you're going to get a wide variety of opinions. That nasty free will thing that God bestowed on us makes life frustrating at times after the dust settles a bit, maybe.
So again, Candace somehow making it about her and about her coming back. Do you see what I'm saying and why I feel it necessary to jump in as somebody who's done journalism extremely successfully? By the way, if you're going to post that Israel paid me, that's defamation. I've never taken a dime from Israel, Netanyahu, any nation state, any leader of a nation, ever, not a dime. And if you say that I did, you're actually slandering me or defaming me. I'm just trying to bring you what I see as fact. I said this before in the video that I did about Candace working in my newsroom. She couldn't. She couldn't because I, as a news director and a managing editor, I really wanted people to tell the truth and report real news. We don't know if that text exchange was real. Let's say it was. He doesn't say what she said he said. And the whole $2 million thing of losing a lot of money, his executive producer, Andrew, already verified that, so that's not really a thing. But don't forget that she talked about the letter to Netanyahu, that she alleged all sorts of stuff in that letter that simply wasn't there. How do we know? Netanyahu released the letter. She never said, you know what, I got the letter wrong. And then that whole meeting in the Hamptons, she said it was at somebody's house. That person, Ackman, came out and said, It wasn't at my house. It was at this other place over here. And here's a release of all of my messages with Charlie Kirk. Did she ever apologize about that? I've got no beef with Candace Owens. I've got a beef with people who are not journalistic, who then claim to be a journalist. And the whole changing cameras and looking off to the side and saying, weird, it's so weird, it's so weird. You have to understand, she literally is making this about her and coming back to TPUSA.
Hold on. In honor of Joe Pags, hold on one second.
Weird.
Shout out to Joe, man. I really appreciate his approach to handling this. And look, he's being super gracious because he's still giving Candace, he says that he says nice things and favorable things about him. So I got to give him respect that he's doing his best because I wouldn't be able to do that. Shout out to Joe.
Which he never says if that group text is real. Let's say it's real. It might not be. She didn't prove that it is, but let's say it's real. He never says anything like that. He says, I'm thinking about inviting Candace, not back into leadership, not back into touring with us, probably to go and speak. And if you just do a quick Google, and I don't use Google, but if you do a quick search, you'll see that Candace Owens did speak in 2024. And you saw that Tucker Carlson did speak very recently. You saw that Tucker Carlson did speak at Charlie's memorial. Why didn't Candace speak there? Why didn't that happen? And why is she doing this to his widow and his kids? I don't understand. If it's not for self-aggrandizement, which it has to be, she claimed he said something he didn't say. Even if that text message is true, he didn't say what she said. Why is she doing it otherwise? I just don't understand. And I'm going to keep on calling her out until she shows the actual receipts. Now, she says in that video that Josh Hammer is one of the people in that text exchange. I can ask Josh. I've had him on the show a couple of times. Let me be as clear as I can. I'm a Christian. I'm not in the bag for Judaism. I certainly believe that Israel was where the chosen people were supposed to go. It's the promised land to those people. But I clearly think Christianity is the right religion. I'm not Jewish. So I don't know if this whole claim has to be that you're questioning Candace, therefore you're bad, and you love everybody in Israel. Now, listen, you can question the Israeli government all you want, but make sure that you're showing real receipts. So far, she's been very bad at this. With the Hampton stuff, with the letter to Netanyahu that's been released, they've both been released, the text messages, and now she's showing something she wants us to believe is a group chat that actually disproves herself. He never said, I want to bring her back. Then he conveniently got a bullet to the neck or to the throat. I don't know what she's doing, but those of you who are absolutely in the bag believing her, keep on going. I'm not here to tell you that you shouldn't. But if you want to question exactly what it is that I'm saying, show me what I just got wrong.
Shout out to Joe Pags. I like him. We're going to start using Joe Pags to clean our palate on a regular basis. So he's just going to have to do these every day. Because we're going to need them pretty much every time we do a watch party. We're going to have Joe stop in. Man, that was right on the money. That was exactly what I needed. And I think ultimately one of the problems I'm seeing, and I'll start bringing the ship in to port from here. One of the problems I'm seeing is that people don't believe that two things can be true simultaneously. Two things can be true at the same time. Okay? I support your right to do this. It's wrong that this happened. I mean, those two things can walk side by side, hand in hand, and exist simultaneously. It doesn't have to be, I support you and I believe you here, therefore this can't be true. No, you did something wrong. If you're a parent, everybody who's had a parent, everybody who's had children can agree. They're just the cutest little things. But I love you. But my goodness, in the morning, you are driving me crazy. But I love you. But you drive me crazy. Those two things can go right side by side, and they can seem like they're different even. You can support Israel, but you can be like, hey, man, the way y'all rocking over here, doing this and the other, it's just not right. Or you can support America and say, man, but hey, I rock with Trump, but my guy, what's going on with these gas prices, dude? Where's the drill baby now? Drill baby. Come on, man. I need them I need them academic probation gas prices back. But I can still rock with them. Those two things can rock simultaneously. And for some reason, in this discussion, people act like we can't have two things be true at the same time, and want, peace in Israel, but also want them to stop doing whatever they're doing, putting sugar in their grits or whatever. Okay, buying Nikes, right? Y'all need to be rocking the Adidas, the brand with 3 stripes, or whatever. But two things can exist simultaneously. And for whatever reason, in this discussion, it can't happen. You cannot have two simultaneous thoughts. I don't know why. And that's where a lot of the problems come from. Because if you critique Joe Pags, then you don't like Joe Pags. Like, wait, what are you talking about? I like Joe Pags. I mean, I'm glad I found him. I'm glad I found his channel, and I hope he does really well. He's an excellent content creator. Absolutely. I disagree with him about what he said about Candace being a great person. I disagree with him. But I'm gonna tune in tomorrow and pray that he does a show that we can clear our palate with. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It can be both and. Next thing. I'm going to tell you why I think Candace is doing this. Now, I still believe, I still hold fast to story time with Jason, that there is a level of envy toward widow Erica Kirk. I believe there's a level of envy there, even if it's a monicum, is more than enough to cause havoc. Just a little creak of sin, grain of sand of sin in our lives is enough to ruin us, period. However, I think personally, why does Candace, why she had been attacking TPUSA? I think it's because the fact that she cannot replicate that at all. Nobody is interested in Candace Owens. I found some video clips of her and Charlie on stage at colleges talking. Nobody's interested in her like that. Nobody's gonna sign. She's not gonna fill up a lecture hall. And this was actually in a lecture hall in a college, by the way. I thought that was interesting, but I digress. Nobody's coming to hear, or as the kids like to say, ain't nobody checking for Candace like that. So I think deep down inside, she knows that she is not going to be the draw like that. And so I think what she wants to do is wreck TPUSA in the guise of, under the veil of investigating truth, finding the truth, blah, blah, blah. Because I asked y'all earlier, nobody's been able to tell me, what investigation has she ever done that's actually netted somebody going to jail? What investigation has she done that's actually turned a situation around? I don't know of one. And please don't tell me, we already knew about Black Lives Matters. George Floyd is still the patron saint of the hood. Kamala Harris still zipping around here with Jack Daniels in her purse. Like, what did she actually change? Well, what has her investigations actually netted? Nothing. And I really think that the reason she's doing this is to destroy TPUSA, because she cannot recreate TPUSA. She can't do it. Nobody's checking for her. Nobody's coming to hear Candace Owens pontificate at University of Virginia or University of Colorado or Tuskegee or going up there to MIT. Nobody's coming. Nobody's checking for her in the Atlanta University Center. Nobody's running around the country to hear her at Phoenix, Arizona State, or Arizona State. Nobody's doing that. And I think ultimately she wants to wreck it by attacking the donors. That's what I think. But let me know what y'all think. All right, y'all, thank you so much. Y'all, thank you very much for tapping in with me. Here's my amethyst angel. We're going to round these bases and bring this thing on in. My personal CEO is a Jewish carpenter. Amen to that. Thank you for the $2 super. I really appreciate it. Lyndon coming in again, coming in hot with the $5 assist. I just realized I traded Tucker, Candace, Megan, and Tatum for Jay Witt in this chat. I think it's a great trade. Wow. Thank you so much. Lyndon, I don't know who you are, but your comments have been killing it today. Thank you so much. Look, let me tell you something. This is the best live chat on the internet. I'm not saying that. We've been recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records on planet on Pluto, but I mean, whatever, right? We've received Grammys and Emmys and Tonys and Oscars. I kind of made it up, but you got my point. Like, this is the best live chat on the internet, bar none. And our comment section is the most electrifying comment section. Welcome to the party. Hey, Amethyst, thank you again for that $5. She says this: let's have Donald John Quavius reopen Byberry State Hospital and build a sweet cell, pun intended, in her name. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Shout out for sure. Donald John Quavius Trump. Y'all are wild. Look, Candace is wilding out, man. Lastly, did Candace ever speak out against those celebrating his death? As far as I know, I don't know, but I'm sure there's some candies in here that can let us know. That's a good question. I don't know. She didn't, because she knew they would fall for her lies. They're half of her audience. Oh, I got you. I see what you did there, Harry, 1922. Thank you for the $5 super. I got what you're saying. She didn't call out the people that are celebrating, because those are the people that are now celebrating and supporting her. I got you. And hey, there's probably good reason to that. I would love to see a little bit more. I think we can probably make a case for that. And MT over here says, no, he wrote it, but he's nuts. I was kind of looking at some of his work, and I can kind of see that. That's an interesting person. Like, why was he interested in supporting Turning Point in the first place? MT again, people on the left that cheer. Oh, we're talking about people on the left that cheer Charlie. And we read that one earlier. Thank you so much for that, man. I appreciate y'all rocking with us today, man. This has been a lot of fun. We did look at Andrew Kolvet. I'm a little still conflicted about that. I need to pray about it, but I feel better. I didn't feel good before. I didn't think that there was I do feel better about what Andrew said now that I've watched it like 3 times. I feel a little bit better about it. I just hope that Turning Point will not make a daily event of answering and addressing Candace. To me, I think that would be a bad look for them. They should leave that alone completely and totally. But that was interesting. Of course, we did watch Candace, of course, and then we ended the night with Joe Pags, of course, with that excellent explanation of what journalism is. And it is interesting. Like, you can see that this is not Candace reporting on a story. This is Candace being the story. Way more than let me put out all my information, put it together in a 8-paragraph summary of what's going on with my links and all that stuff. No, she's actually the story. Candace is the story. And when you read that letter from that donor, it just seems a little bit weirder now when you realize, like, yo, she's actually the story. That's crazy work, y'all. But I want to say thank you so much. Yeah, TP USA right here. TP USA, Terry, thank you so much. O's or nothing. I really hope they don't answer her at all. Oh my gosh, I forgot about it. Hold on. But the name is different. You know what? We actually I forgot. We have a song about how great this live chat is. Thank you, Gene, for the $5 super and reminding me about that. Hold on, let me pull that up. It's the old name of the channel still, and I have not gotten a new one. But if that matters at all, hopefully everybody's cool with that. Let me pull it up. I have not looked at it in a while. I haven't watched it in a while. Thank you so much, Gene, for reminding me about that. If you all have never seen hold on one second. I got to be a little bit more judicious and find it. First of all, get rid of this, Jason. All right, there we go. That was a good one. Thank you so much. Let me pull that in. I got to find it, though. So have mercy on me for a second. Because I've called myself updating and keeping my desktop a little cleaner, a little bit smoother. And needless to say, I've not done a good job at it. I'm trying to get better at it, though. Is it right here? Everybody's like, man, what in the world is going on with Jason? Because I used to have it stored on my computer as my theme, but I don't have it immediately. Ay. I'm letting you down. I'm letting the people down. They're like, what are we waiting for, Jason? I'm letting y'all down. Do y'all hear my kids talking all loud? My niece and daughter talking all loud? Okay, it's not here. That's the first problem. All right, I am looking for this, and I really apologize. All right, I'll let you down. I'm going to have to come back on it because I have no idea where I put this this video. And I know it's going to pop up as soon as I get done, log off. I'm going to be like, oh, I found it. I don't see it, doggone it. All right, this is the last check. Last check right here. I don't see it. Doggone it. I am doing a terrible job of telling y'all like I know what I'm doing over here. I clearly don't. All right, let's see. All right, I'm going to have to wait because I don't see it. And I have no idea where I put it. But Jean Lee, remind me, please. I owe you this one, so I will make sure that I have it ready tomorrow or next time I go live. I'll make sure I have it ready because I have no idea where I put that video. Or maybe Candace stole it. Maybe Candace stole it. So ignorant. Candace stole it. It's crazy. Let's see. I'm just looking real quick in my external drive. I don't see it. I'm sorry. And I know I'm gonna find it as soon as I leave out. As soon as I shut off the stream, and I'm gonna be like, y'all, we're gonna run this back real quick. Dang, I owe you though. All right, can I owe you on this one? I will make sure that I have it for you in a moment. I'll make sure I have it for you next time we get together. I'm just scanning real quick. Dang, where is it? I'll find it. Okay, everybody, thank y'all so much for rocking. It was a lot of fun. There we go. I will make sure that we have it, though, for sure. Let's check right here. No, it's not in here. Okay, no, it's not there either. It used to be in my StreamYard, but it's not. I apologize. I'll make sure I have it for y'all next time, though. Let's do this again real soon, everybody. Thanks for rocking with us. Thank you so much for all of the support. Thank you to my moderators. Thank you to the very gracious and extremely kind supers. I really appreciate it, though. Y'all are amazing. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to doing this again real soon. So let's do it soon enough, everybody. Until then, grace and peace. Take care. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Jay Whip Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.